Sakura, Sky, and Loki.
This week, the news revolves around Facebook with their acquisition of Oculus, but the news unravels with events happening far and wide. In more unsurprising news, rumors of Microsoft's plans to compete begin with a recent acquisition. But how does it compare? We'll explain all this and more on the show where every gamer has a voice.
Orange Lounge Radio.
Hello, my friends out there on the internet, and welcome back to another week of the show where every gamer has a voice. It is Orange Lounge Radio, episode number 546 for this March the 30th of 2014. Let's talk about video games. You guys in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com, where we do tape live every Sunday night at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, right after the Bobby Blackwolf show. Here in studio, my name is Rob Roberts, and joining me, as always, say hello to the one and only Dark Sakura, or Jamie Summers.
Sup, bitches?
How you doing?
I'm a queen on my throne right now.
Yeah, you were talking about just before the show, you're going to bring in a crown in the studio next week.
Fuck yeah.
I'll go to Burger King and get you one of those crowns. Do they still do that?
I don't think so. I'm just going to make one.
Yeah. You know what else used to be a thing? Like, and I don't think this is a thing anymore. I don't know. Kids having their birthday parties at Burger King and McDonald's. Like, that used to be a thing.
This is California. Kids are eating organic shit now.
But it's not. But I used to do that stuff when I was younger.
I used to crash them.
All right.
It's not as fancy anymore.
No, I'll tell you what's fun is after the end of band trips and everyone buying Happy Meals and then playing musical instruments on their straws.
We used to go to Carl's Jr. and then steal the numbers. But anyway, the other voice you hear over there, Tech Master Loki.
You know, kind of a funny bit of trivia, but for some reason, and I asked them once and I never really got a response. For some reason, the back doormat for my wife's parents' house is a Taco Bell mat. Like, it's flipped upside down, but you can easily see the lettering of Taco Bell on there. I'm like, why do you guys have a Taco Bell mat? Oh, where did that come from? Oh, I don't know. It's like, did you guys steal that?
It's like, there's a story there, but you don't really want to ask about it.
I just don't. I don't know. I think someone donated it to them, but where did they? Obviously, someone at some point stole it from somewhere.
Well, I used to have a Carl's Jr. number 70 here in this house, and everybody was like, "Why didn't you get number 69?" I'm like, "Because my bitch friend before me was able to get that number, and I got 70."
You know what?
Can you do? What?
I had a stack of 15 of them at my desk at the former money store.
I don't know if we should admit. Are we going to get sued?
Get this. When I came back to get my last check, I stopped at the Carl's Jr. and gave them back their numbers.
It was like a confession thing, like, I'm really sorry, and here you go.
I was like, I wasn't sorry, but I was like, you know what? I just kept grabbing these, and I forgot I already had some, so here, you can have these back. They're like, I think we replaced them. Thank you.
I think at some point all those...
It was the end of an era.
They all switched to just the little paper things that were, printed out and laminated. I think at some point they just... over it.
And we used to make the little numbers jump.
We went to Carl's Jr. today.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Good times.
I was going to, just real quickly, I wanted to share life with the family and how that is.
Sure.
So here is what happened when we went to Carl's Jr. today. We're waiting for food, and we hear this.
Is that both your kids? He's nodding.
Screamy the first and Screamy the second.
Josh was screaming because he wanted his own soda. And the baby was screaming because he just didn't want to be in the car seat anymore.
Well, you know what's funny is that in a way they've kind of taken after Daddy, because Daddy screams a lot on his radio show on Sunday nights.
The funny part, though, was Josh wasn't screaming at all, and then Nelly got soda, and I didn't order him one. And he's like, what's that? So I want, where's mine? I want one. I'm like, well, I didn't order you one. And then he just went ballistic.
I'm too young to properly express my dismay in adult terms. Wah!
Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. Some folks talking about the birthday parties and things that we were mentioning a minute ago. Act Def says kids having their birthday parties is still a thing here. Well, I'm assuming he means at the Burger King, McDonald's stuff. But everybody I know here is it's all about Chuck E. Cheese and miniature golf or other. Honestly, it seems like a lot of the families I know are just I'm not throwing a party for all those little kids. I'm not paying for other
Julian's
people's
birthday
kids.
party this year is going to be at Farrell's.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I want to be 6 years old.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, he's going to be 7. Oh, my God, he's going to be 7. Maybe I should do my birthday party at Farrell's.
The Pagan Jew in chat over at live.vognetwork.com says, I miss the Chuck E. Cheese parties. Yeah, that was the other big thing when I was
World's
a kid.
shittiest pizza and scariest animatronics in the world.
But raddest video games.
Here's the cool thing, though, but they don't have the coolest video games anymore, but they're all they're all one token. Every single one of them is one token.
Wait,
now.
Chuck E. Cheese actually has arcade machines still?
Oh, yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah.
last time I went into one, there was maybe one racing game.
No, they
That's
have
it.
a ton. They have a ton.
wow.
There's a new one that's up in Rockland that Josh has gone to a few times. One for a birthday party, and then one just because he liked going there. But yeah, they've got quite a few arcade machines. Not a lot. I mean, a lot of it now is just like, hey, look, it's a stupid Android or iOS game that's now on. iOS game that's now on an arcade machine. Like ooh,
Fruit Ninja. Yeah.
It's like
Doodle
ooh,
Jump. Yeah.
It's like, why is that an arcade game? That is not an arcade game. That is a giant cell phone game.
You know what? I was just thinking maybe we should do an episode of OLR from Chuck E. Cheese
It's
and
been
have a birthday party and everything, but not with it's like an unbirthday party.
a lot of people don't know this, but years and years and years ago in the early days of OLR, I'm talking this was around episode 22 or something. We actually broadcast from Roseville Golfland and damn near got thrown out. Remember they came
I
up and
do.
and I lied and said we were doing a project for a high school. Those were the days.
Back when we could get away with that.
True renegade independent radio.
Because Chuck E. Cheese is trying to update their image.
Yeah.
So they kind of did that once in the 90s, and then they're doing it again now.
Oh, are they?
So when you go there, there's 3 different generations of Chuck E. Cheese stuff that's in there. And it's hilarious because they have on their little stage show, it's not really animatronic anymore, but they have the old Chucky on there. Then they have a video thing that plays. It's kind of the semi-new Chucky. Then they have the guy that comes out in the costume that's the brand new Chucky. But on that video, though, it's super duper old. But you know what they have in there that was completely random? They have the Trollolo song in there. They literally have that the video from YouTube, but it's their characters dressed up and singing the song. I'm like, what the hell? Kids are not going to know what this is. Adults are most adults wouldn't know what that is, but middle.
It's weird what songs catch on with kids because the whole the fox, that's the whole song. What does the fox say? That was a meme thing, right? And
Yeah.
that's that's a kid's song now. You hear it all the time, at kid type places.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was just so
I've
random.
heard I can never remember what it's called in, what is it, Hungarian or Czech? The Dragon's Den Day, whatever.
Oh, Dragostad and Tay?
Yeah, I've heard that on
Numa, yeah.
on What Hits or something, or the Kids Bop or whatever the crap they call it.
Yeah, the kids like weird stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Adults like weird stuff too. Oh, thank you, chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. VXJSNXV says crazy frog. Oh, God. All right, look. We've got some big gaming stuff we've got to talk about. We will get into our gaming weeks. We're going to get to your emails and your calls later on the show as well. But we've got some big gaming news to tackle this week. And we're going to start off with our lead story tonight is a bit of a whopper, and it's something everybody's got an opinion on, even if they don't necessarily have all the facts. But clearly none of us do, because this is all still very early on in what is going to be a multi-month process. But Loki, take it away, please.
It's unbelievable news, but did you know Mila Kunis actually is pregnant by Ashton Kutcher? Now, I know this is shocking news to the gaming world,
Wait.
but...
Wait, did he divorce Demi Moore, or were they ever
that
actually
was a
married?
long time ago, man.
I
That was a
must have
long
missed
time ago. Where have you been?
Am I supposed to care about any of that?
It's a joke because
Okay.
obviously everyone expects us to talk about Facebook and buying Oculus. So I thought I would throw them a curveball, adding a bit of humor because it's unexpected.
Well, that story did show up a lot in my Facebook feed. Anyway, there's your transition.
Anyways, so yes, Facebook has acquired Oculus VR, and they did that with quite a bit of money and a whole lot of shares of their stock, totaling the value of $2 billion. And apparently they're very excited to be working with Oculus, and they're adding a lot of funding that they say is going to help bring down the cost of the system so that they can actually sell them at cost and put better components in them and all that fun stuff. But of course, everyone thinks that they're just going to throw ads in there and rape people with through their eye sockets or something. I don't really know, but apparently everybody's just doom and gloom, and it's the end, and the typical internet reaction.
Well, did anyone not have an initial reaction of the fuck? Because I think a lot of us, I mean, even admittedly, now I'm going to get into, I am not a negative Nancy on this story, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but even I had that reaction of the fuck? Like, I think we were all expecting, if somebody was going to buy Oculus, it was going to be Sony. We were all hoping for or maybe Microsoft in response, or maybe another Valve is another. But Facebook, I would think if there were a betting pool and you would put your money on Facebook, you might have the money right now to buy the Oculus Rift back. That's how much money you would have made on that. So did anyone out there not have that kind of reaction?
No, I think everyone was shocked.
But once that simmered down a little bit, I mean, there was certainly a lot of that initial talk of, now we're going to play Farmville right in front of our face, so we're going to play Candy Crush Saga. That's what it's going to all be about. Well, actually, it could have been about that anyway, because the Oculus was always an open-ended PC thing, right? It's not necessarily tied to one company or one platform or what have you. So those games could have always existed on Oculus VR before Facebook bought them. I think it's also probably an important point to remember that Facebook did not create Farmville, nor did they create Candy Crush Saga. Other companies, Zynga and King, created those games.
They also didn't create casual games. They also didn't create ads.
Right. They now their platform gave these game makers a new way to create these type of social games. So that's where you could quote unquote blame Facebook. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of the negative feelings people have about Facebook, there's kind of two places the negative feelings are. One is a lot of the bullshit, drama, fuckery stuff that happens on Facebook and how just like dramatic things can be on Facebook sometimes. That's not necessarily Facebook's fault. That's more of society's fault in the way that we are like tied to Facebook in a way. But the second thing, which is a little more of a legitimate concern, is the whole privacy and, how are they really using the information? What sorts of things are they collecting? Zuckerberg's interesting history. Granted, he was a dumb college kid at one point. We all were. But, obviously there's all that story that goes into it as well. But at the end of the day, we do have to remember Facebook is a free company, right? And when you use a free service, ain't nothing free in this world. You can enter the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes and have a chance to win, what is it, $10,000 a week for the rest of, I don't know, whatever the fuck it is.
And 50 subscriptions you'll never cancel.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that it's free to enter, but then they have your phone number and your address, and they'll be calling you nonstop for the rest of your life until you change those things, right?
Or until you're on the do not call list.
Right. So, with that, you might... I wonder, I don't know, again, I just kind of pulled this comparison out of thin air. I would wonder if by entering the contest and signing the sweepstakes form, you don't somehow waive your right to the do not call list. Somehow.
I don't think that they can.
Oh, maybe. All right. Well, anyway. So whatever. Comparison derailed. But anyway, I guess my point where I'm going with all this is that here's the thing about Facebook, is that Facebook, in a way, has changed, for better or for worse, how we communicate. And that's a lot of the bread and butter of Facebook's business right now. Facebook makes, brings a lot of eyeballs to their site and sells a lot of ad space by the fact that Facebook Messenger, for some people, is replacing email. That's kind of like a big thing, right? That's where Facebook kind of gets its bread and butter.
That's actually kind of how I quote text friends of mine in other countries.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, I don't use Messenger because I hate the Messenger app, but I use Facebook for it.
Yeah.
Through my phone. And then, of course, if they've got, messages, I use that to message them.
Now, here's the thing, is that Facebook obviously is kind of looking at how all this is evolving with the messaging and everything like this. Could it be that Facebook maybe knows that its time is limited if it doesn't try to stay ahead of the curve? Look at what happened to Friendster. Friendster had a whole bunch of tech problems and fell off the face of the earth, right? Because everybody moved off of Friendster because the site hardly ever worked and people moved on. Then there was MySpace. But MySpace started to kind of crush under itself, and the fact that MySpace became so big that it started becoming really uncool because everybody had that weird shit all over their profiles and the backgrounds and the music that would automatically play, and like
it's like GeoCities plastered on everything.
It was every awful thing about the late 90s, early 2000s internet all in one little space. And I think people eventually grew tired of that. If you really read what Mark Zuckerberg said in his statement about the acquisition of the Oculus, it's very clear that they want to do more than just gaming. They want to do these other sorts of things with the technology, like being able to be at a sports event and be able to have the Oculus VR so that you can see everything around you. In a way, that's furthering communication. And that's really where Facebook wants to be right now, wants to be at the leader of communication.
Or imagine, you have that on your head and you're at some sort of event or something and you're like, I want to share this like in Instagram or something like that. And now you're seeing through their eyes.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that is the type of technology. I mean, and I don't think that's the type of thing that's going to show up tomorrow, but that's the sort of technology that I think they're really going to. I do not think at all that this is about Farmville in front of your face or your Facebook news feed in front of your eyes. This is about what is the next step after integrating video calling directly into Facebook? What is the next step after the Messenger app that allows you to get around text message international fees and those sorts of things? What is the next step? Oculus could be one of those steps. Oh, hey, and it plays video games too. Just like, oh, hey, you can play games on Facebook too if you want. So I don't necessarily see like all the doom and gloom and all of this stuff. I think a lot of people have these really wrong perceptions. People are just straight up making shit up. Now, I don't want to be seen as like totally defending Facebook here either, because obviously they have a lot to prove that they're going to use this for the quote unquote forces of good and not the forces of evil. And a lot of this is going to show in how they, start to integrate this, what the Oculus starts to look like 6 months from now. But what I'm just saying is, I have an open mind with it. Maybe Facebook bought Oculus because Facebook wanted to make sure they were still relevant in a couple years.
And when has $2 billion in funding been a terrible thing for any company?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that they could do a lot of good with that. You're going to get a better end product from that.
SSJ100 Matt says in our chat room, live.vognetwork.com, keep in mind that yes, Facebook is now a big company that people do not trust. Let's not forget it's also a publicly traded company now, which was not the case when it first started, and that will change things significantly. As J100 Matt continues, but at one point not long ago, it was the indie place that people liked. Times change and economics happen. That's right. Remember at one time you could not sign up for Facebook unless you had a .edu account. You had to be a college student. Remember the early days of Facebook? You could not do it without that. It was that underground. That would be like me saying you cannot sign up for vognetwork.com unless you have like a .gov address or something. I don't know, something crazy, right? So, Tiger Claw in chat says, Sky, so basically Facebook wants people to share Facebook photos, but the photos would be 3D rendered? Perhaps. And yes, you should expect that at some point those experiences will be brought to you in part by McDonald's. That's just the reality of our culture.
I think I threw up in my mouth a little.
So but
I don't like the trend, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say that, and I'm not wearing my socialist hat, but I'd like to say that, the evolution of capitalist society has sort of led us down that path.
Mm-hmm.
If we spent less time, there was less time spent worrying about the bottom line and worrying about, maybe people,
mm-hmm.
then we might actually have, more quality communication that isn't sponsored by some, forgive me, I'm about to go off and I don't want to.
No, it's fine. And you know what, though? To be fair, I think there could be a lot of good that comes to this. But again, it's way too early to really know one way or the other. I'm just saying I have an open mind about this. Sure, when I hear that Facebook buys Oculus, I kind of go, the fuck? But I also see maybe it's not as horrible as everybody instantly assumes it is. Because a lot of the bad things about Facebook are not necessarily Facebook created. They're created by your friends and people you know on Facebook, or they're created by other companies. Now, the one thing that Facebook ultimately does control is the whole privacy and how they use your information. That's what we need to keep an eye on over the next 6 months as they integrate Oculus Rift. But I'm willing to have an open mind over it. I'm not going to judge one way or the other. And the other thing I think about a lot when I hear this news is I think about how Microsoft's Kinect technology has kind of hit this weird stoppage when it comes to games. We haven't really seen the Kinect really evolve anything in games for a while. Even though it's integrated into the Xbox One, it's all about the shell and that system. Everything interesting that's come out of Kinect beyond video games has been with the PC integration, and you're seeing Kinect used in the medical field and things like that now.
In fact, they're just launching, or soon to launch, the Kinect 2.0 for PC. They just announced the pricing on that. I think $199 maybe.
Yeah. So maybe Oculus is going to have a lot of this similar implementation where there's so much more beyond games. I mean, hypothetically, I am no scientist nor creator, but I would think perhaps now when we talk about that you could do surgery laparoscopic with a camera, right? When they do the laparoscopic surgery, what if that camera could literally let the doctor see inside you due to the technology of Oculus Rift? I could think, even though that's like really weird, I could think that there is some significant medical advances to be able to do that.
It would have to be like perfect communication to do that, because if you have something like that that's remotely off, or relying on depth perception coming from a single lens going to double vision, then there's way too much room for failure.
But my thought is, if Kinect can advance the field, then so can Oculus, right?
That is a good point. I mean,
maybe not again, I'm not a doctor. Maybe what I just said was total wank, whatever.
No, they just have to improve the technology around the laparoscopy, but it's possible.
Yeah. So.
I mean, and it's actually a good thing if you have one form of technology encouraging another one to improve as well, to keep up or to be used to make it compatible.
Dungeon Buster in our chat room says, Facebook also probably looked at Oculus Rift as something much bigger than just games, and we've seen novel uses for existing tech for other than what they were intended, like in clinics using the Wii to help kids with physical therapy. Very good point, Dungeon Buster. A lot of same thing happens in like senior citizen centers. Like there's Wii bowling night at the senior citizen center because it's actually like a really healthy activity for older folks, I
actually have been seeing that used as range of motion exercise.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then what's interesting is that Jason says surgery over the internet already happens. All right, he must be responding to another comment. But my thought is like, wow, yeah. I mean, if the bandwidth gets fast enough, I mean, a doctor could really see you from a long distance. I mean, it's again, we won't really know about this technology till a ways down the line, but it could be fascinating. But I'll give Facebook the benefit of the doubt to see what they're going to do with it. And I think a lot of people should really do the same. Like if you're stuck on this whole Candy Crush and Farmville thing, you really need to look at the bigger picture about there's a lot more than that. If all you want is games though, don't worry y'all, Sony's got you covered. And I think that's exciting too. Now we really have a difference between Project Morpheus and Oculus Rift.
And just because they're talking about like, games like Farmville and stuff, existing, let's just say worst case scenario, there's a Farmville and a Candy Crush game on Oculus. There's also all those other games that everybody else is developing for. I mean, I don't understand why you're all of a sudden, oh, I'm sorry. You guys, they had the dev kits. Yeah, you're not going to be able to put anything out. We only want Candy Crush and, Farmville. That's all you're going to be able to play. I mean, I don't ever... It's just people are dumb. I mean, whatever. They overreact much. Seriously, everybody I think kind of wants like, it's like we've got this pitchfork in my hand. I just need somebody to go after. Oh, hey, look, cool. There's next thing I'm gonna charge after. Don't worry. I'm sure there'll be another game that'll come out on the Xbox One or PlayStation 4 that won't be 1080p or something, and you can go after those companies, or it's a bull shot or something, or the frame rate's lower on this one than this one. People bitch about everything.
Kaijudo in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says the majority of people on Facebook are not gamers. They're not going to get them to wear that thing on their head. Well, maybe they won't have to someday. I mean, granted, it's only the year 2014. We're still really early on in the implementation of the Oculus Rift. But, I mean, what if... I'm pie in the sky science fiction writer brain here, but couldn't they maybe implement the technology in something like Google Glass, where it would just be glasses? Someday, not tomorrow, but someday, couldn't our technology advance that fast where that type of technology isn't necessarily a giant box you wear on your head, but just glasses? Could be. Like LeVar Burton in Star Trek The Next Generation. It's always one step closer to the holodeck after all, right?
And remember, I mean, just wait until it comes out. Judge the final retail piece and not, what you're speculating on. I just don't understand people getting angry about nothing. And the New York Times seriously should know better than running a piece from an anonymous source saying, "Oh, well, I've seen the Facebook branded Oculus and all this." Really? You're going to run an anonymous source piece about something like that, and then just like with it, like the deal happened like, literally like a day before, and all of a sudden they have it, it's already converted over the Facebook or something like that. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that people are taking this stuff as sources, I don't understand.
People with really boring lives really like to make drama where there shouldn't be any.
Well, Twitter has changed our culture in an interesting way like that, too, because it's so easy to have that instant knee-jerk reaction on Twitter. And I'm guilty of this, too.
I don't read Twitter anymore.
But the reality is newspapers are reporting on what people tweet. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. That's our world right now.
I have another rant forming, and I'm too tired to rant. So I will put it in this way.
With some more coffee?
No.
I'd like to hear a Jamie rant. We're a little overdue.
I ranted last week, remember?
Like I said, it's been a whole week. We're overdue.
I'd just like to, it's sort of like arguing, trying to be one person trying to turn back, the hurricane force tide winds, But it's something that I think if we look to, we've been warned about this. People predicted that we were going to end up in a society where everyone was going to be all for instant gratification. We were all going to be living for our distractions, and that it was going to be basically a society of knee-jerk reactions. Nothing was more important than the drama of the moment. And I think that it's too many people going with too many first impressions and letting out this wave of negativity instead of looking at possibility. And that's what I think is causing the big fuss around this. And yeah, when the next big thing comes out, everyone's going to forget about this or go, "Oh, you're still talking about that," whatever. But, at the end, it's people living too close to their distractions and letting themselves be swept in by it.
And why isn't anyone concerned about a Lawnmower Man type scenario happening where someone might totally get immersed into VR and get sucked into the program, thus becoming an evil entity that has control over the entire phone system? What of that? Nobody is concerned by that.
I have a few more things I want to say about this, and then I want to move on. If you're one of those people that are making negative comments about the whole thing, about how blah, 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 I am an angry person on the internet, blah, 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 and Facebook is the worst thing in the world, and you're doing it from your Facebook account, check your life. Like, do you know how silly some people have looked making these types of comments from their Facebook account? Look, I'm not happy with Facebook 100% of the time either, but the types of things that some of these people say, it's like, why are you on this network? Why are you using this network that you are you are not required to use Facebook in your life. You can cut it out if you hate it that much. Just saying. B, I know there's a very lot of, or I should say there's a lot of very pressed individuals out there who contributed to the original Oculus Kickstarter. One of them is a very well-known developer of an indie game who was maybe possibly working on his hypothetical version of the game that maybe possibly was going to be on this system, and he was very upset and wrote this big rant about it. But my whole thing is that's a Kickstarter problem, people. That's part of the problem with Kickstarter. You're not an investor in these. Kickstarter is an elaborate pre-order scheme. And by the way, not to get on too much of a side tangent, but this is a big part of the reason I've always resisted the idea of putting Orange Lounge Radio types of funding on Kickstarter. Because I kind of like the fact that we have the right to pull the plug on this show anytime. Not that I'm threatening to do anything, because, dear God, we've been doing this for half our lives, it feels like.
We're going to take our podcast and go home.
But if I wanted to do that, I like the fact that I could be able to do that.
Well, that's the thing, is that people feel entitled. Like, they're asking for their money back.
Yes.
Like, seriously, you're asking for your money back. Did you get everything that was promised in that little box?
Yes.
On the Kickstarter?
Yes.
Then you can shut the fuck up, because your fulfillment has been taken care of.
Don't get me wrong. I love the support we get from our community and our chatters and listeners, and that is really the fuel that keeps us going week after week. My thing is, though, once you bring money into it, then it becomes a whole nother ball game. And that's why I'm like, that's a line I'm not sure I want to, cross, where it's like, oh, donate $20 and we'll say your name on air for the next 6 episodes, and we'll do OLR for the next year, and and all this stuff. Like, that might work for some people. It don't work for me. I want to be the investor.
But
in this.
I need 10,000.
But I do take free tacos.
But
Yes.
I need $10,000 to do the.
Jamie will say your name on air for a taco.
I'll do it too.
I literally looked at a Kickstarter today for it was a podcast. I'm not going to say which one, but they were looking for $6,000 to do the 3rd season of their podcast, and I'm just like,
Bitches,
what?
we've been doing this for 12 years, and we've been gifted money once, and we've been gifted stuff a few times,
Very generously, yes.
which we're very happy for. Thank you. But for the most part, we haven't asked for anything.
Yes, I don't like to ask for it. All we do ask, as we say at the end of every show, tell a friend or two about the show. I don't think that's not like crossing a line or anything, or making people feel entitled, right? That doesn't. That's okay, right? We cool? Anyway, I didn't mean to make this whole thing about us, but the point I was trying to make is that, when people kind of chip in that money, there's that sense of entitlement. Well, y'all just learned a rough lesson about Kickstarter. You're not an investor on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is, would you like to pay $5 to pre-order the game? It's an entire company built on the GameStop pre-order system.
It's not necessarily that. And I know people, a lot of times, that's what they use to incentivize people to fund. All it is you're giving funding to a company so that they can finish a product or do something with it. It doesn't make you a part of the company. All you're doing is you're giving them funding to finish whatever it is that they're trying to finish. That's all Kickstarter is. Yes, a lot of the times you will get the finished version of a game or a DVD or whatever. But that's all it is. It's just giving them funding to finish something. And a lot of times they don't even finish something. A lot of the times they take the money and run. But, you have to be careful. But it doesn't make you a part of the company. It doesn't mean that you can ask for your money back because all of a sudden they came into $2 billion. You helped them start their company, and just because their company became successful doesn't mean they owed your money back. That's not how it fucking works. If you want to invest real money into something and get a dividend back, play the stock market. Don't play Kickstarter. You kickstarted that project because you wanted a fucking Oculus Rift, or you like the idea, and then you got whatever your perks were, or a development kit or whatever. You're done. The transaction is complete. You do not have say over this company.
Congrats. The idea that you bought into with your money has proven to be successful. That's a good thing, I thought.
It's indie cred.
I guess.
People want the indie cred. That's it.
And if you want to hear more on that is a great kind of reference to what Bobby kind of got into on his show tonight, which that was great. I'm not going to spoil it, but Bobby definitely had his say. Bobby is the Oculus huge guy around here at vognetwork.com, and he definitely had his say tonight. So that's all I'll say about that. All right, anything else on Oculus and Facebook?
Hey, Bobby, that's not true. You kickstarted that project because you wanted the fucking Oculus Rift. Wrong. You kickstarted that project because you wanted to play virtual reality porn to fuck some sort of peripheral, that would go with the Oculus Rift.
That was the other thing I wanted to say. Thank you, Bobby, for reminding me of the boob tangent. Because let's all hope, let's all pray, let's join hands for a minute. Hold your hands out virtually. You're going to grab mine, and we're going to say a prayer together to whatever you believe in, to whatever it is you believe in. Flying Spaghetti
Pizza.
Monster, God, Buddha, whatever.
Pizza.
We're all going to pray to whatever it is that we believe in. Facebook does not remove the 3D boobs. Pray with me, people.
They're not going to.
We get our 3D boobs.
They're not going to. And the fact that they injected $2 billion of money, this is going to become a popular platform. There will be some kick-ass pornography on it. This is like next-gen shit, okay?
Maybe we haven't given Mark Zuckerberg enough credit. Maybe he wants that type of porn just like all the rest of us do.
He is a human being.
All the rest of who?
Isn't he just one of the guys after all?
I would like to have him come out and go, listen, you understand that this is just one step to the holodeck, and that's all what we want, right? That's what he needs to come out and say. So that's all we really want. Once we have the holodeck, who gives a shit about anything else?
All right, that's enough on the Oculus Facebook thing. If you have an opinion on this, and I'm sure many of you do, you can give us a call later on in the show, 1-877-GAME-OLR, or, of course, you can always email us, mailbag. Oh, excuse me. Nope, not anymore. Participate at orangeloungeradio.com.
No, send it to Mailbag. You'll get a response, I promise.
It'll say bounce. No, sorry, participate at orangeloungeradio.com. Hey, look. You do one thing one way for 520 weeks of your life. It takes a little while to change, okay? Participate at orangeloungeradio.com is the place to send those emails. All right.
Okay, wait. Havoc978 said, "Can you fuck a rift though?" And I was just thinking about like wormholes. That would be really weird.
Alan Alchemy, it looks like, is pitching a game here in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com. 3D Baby Oil Standing Wave Ass Cheeks Volume 23. All right, look. Enough, people. Let's get back to the actual video games in a segment we call How Was Your Gaming Week? And what types of video games have you been playing this week? Dark Sakura.
I didn't play Final Fantasy 14.
Gasp.
I know. I need to.
They had a whole patch, too.
I know. I patched it, and then I got tired of waiting.
There's stuff and things.
I know. Well, I patched it, and then I was like, I don't want to talk. Or don't want to play. So, anyway, I've been playing with modding my, since I reinstalled my older drivers, my nVidia drivers. I can now run text mod again, except it suddenly stopped working. So I've been playing through Mass Effect 3 again, just because I wanted to redo the beginning of the game and get some screen caps. And I messed up, and so far Liara thinks that no dating Liara, not me. I will let other friends of mine who are in chat right now, date Liara all they want to. No, not me. But I totally respect your ship. I just don't sail with it. So anyway, hip starter. See, I said that in chat. Anyway, so I actually started a game today that I bought like a month ago called The Shiva. Because I'm like, it's a video game based around Jewish concepts. And there's murder. I like it. So it's actually pretty cool so far, but it's really depressing. So I thought that I would cheer myself up by playing Dominique Pamplemousse. And I didn't really cheer myself up that much. And yes, the Pagan Jew, you can have all the Liara you want to. So I played some of that today. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I now have a bajillion blue roses. And sorry, the giveaway was last week. So to the lucky people who got blue roses from me, lucky you. And then I've been playing Mahjong during my breaks. Because video Mahjong is actually kind of fun. It's doing it like on this weird level system too. I forgot what it's called, but it's like a app store game. Not for the iOS, but for OS X. But it's like, it takes you through different levels of Mahjong tiles, and then as you go through it, it adjusts your score based on how many times you ran out of tiles, or how many times you ran out of matches, and then it will reshuffle your tiles, and it's kind of interesting. It's sort of like level-based Mahjong. It's pretty fun.
All right, it sounds like that's it. So let's go over to Loki. How was your gaming week?
I played a little bit of Chroma, the alpha for that again, because I hadn't actually touched it in a few weeks, and they'd made some changes, add some new arenas and stuff, so it was pretty cool. Although I think they tweaked something in the settings, because my sensitivity, because I always play with a controller, and so they have, I guess it would be mouse sensitivity. It was way too high. Like I was trying to target somebody, and it's just like all over the damn place. And because I don't really adjust sensitivity on controllers a lot of times, I wasn't sure if I needed to turn it up or turn it down. And so I spent like one of the only games I was playing of that trying to tweak that and get it right, and I never did. But it's fun. It'll be cool once it's out of alpha and beta and actually playable. And then I played a little bit of Modern Warfare 2 because we switched over to that from Modern Warfare 1 because we've played the hell out of Modern Warfare 3 already, so we're playing the one we haven't hit up yet. And I actually like it quite a bit because of all the different perks and stuff that they have in it. It's a little bit different than Modern Warfare 3, where you can kind of customize your class to pretty much whatever you want, although they have a lot of things you can kind of exploit, like there's ways to get unlimited grenades and stuff like that. But I've actually been playing with one of the default classes because I got into a mod game and it leveled myself up to 70, and I feel bad for all the other people I'm playing with, so I've been playing just one of the preset classes, but it's like a rushing class, so you have unlimited sprint, and I love it. It's kind of fun. So I've been playing that. And then the game I've been looking forward to the most for like this entire month, actually probably 2 months, probably the first quarter of this year, Goat Simulator. The early access for that because I pre-ordered it. I played the hell out of it. I think I've played at least about 4 or 5 hours, although it says 10 hours, but that's because I left it paused because I was trying to get this one achievement.
You don't say. All right, no, I'm not going to do that again.
No, but it's so ridiculous and so broken. I mean, it looks
really funny. Just the little bit I saw you play.
It's pretty funny, but like, there's a lot of times like you'll break out of the world geometry and get stuck in places, and that's the whole point. And I even got the achievement. There's an achievement for the game crashing, and it happened, and so I got the achievement for that, which is kind of funny. It's really stupid. But here's the best part, like, because they have the whole Steam Workshop stuff, so people are adding all sorts of things to it. So they've got, like, new levels. Well, I haven't really played any of the new levels. I tried one of them, which is like a pinball level, but it's all messed up. Didn't quite work right. But you can actually make your own levels. It comes with an editor and stuff, although it's Unreal Engine, so I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. I was like, I loaded the level up. Okay, I want to add something. How do I do that? I have no idea. I'm going to copy paste this. Ah, crap. I didn't copy all the things that are right there. I give up. And that was about it. It's like, oh, I'm going to make a really cool level. No, I'm not. I'm not going to spend any more time on this. And they've got a lot of, they call these mutations that you can do in there. So they have Tall Goat, Feather Goat, Devil Goat, Blue Streak or Blue Goat, and there's Yoshi Goat. So Tall Goat is a giraffe, which is hilarious. And then Feather Goat, of course, is an ostrich. Blue Streak, or I think it's like Blue Streak or Blue Goat or something, is a Sonic type goat where you keep hitting this one button, he does a spin dash, and he'll actually dash into things. There's one, the Yoshi Goat, I haven't played as, but apparently you can eat things and like throw a bomb, which sounds kind of funny. And then people can make their own modifiers. Like they've done one that will make you fat. They have one that's called Australian Goat, and your goat's just upside down. They have what else? Like a teleportation thing that you can do. But there's actually all sorts of weird stuff in the game. Like you can get a rocket pack and fly around and stuff. And you can become like the Devil Goat, and it has this really crazy power where he can like kind of suck things into a tornado, and if you hit the ragdoll effect on that, he just goes flying up into space, and it just looks really messed up. But a fun game, just really, really broken, but that's kind of the charm of it. And here's the best part, though. Because of Steam Workshop, someone's already working on a mod to add multiplayer. It's not even out yet, and someone's working on a multiplayer mod because they said it wasn't possible, and that would probably break the game, but
you gotta love the internet.
I can't wait to try that out. That's it.
All right.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. There was one other game I played. Although it doesn't really play well on my laptop, I tried playing Frog Fractions. The problem is, the problem is with my touchpad, the way it works. Like for some reason, when I hit the keys to like either do the typing or like move around, the touchpad stops working like for a second or something. Like I try using them at the same time, and it seems like I have to click back on the screen or something. It just I don't know. It just doesn't seem to work right. Like it worked fine on my work PC, but it just doesn't work at all on my laptop. So I got frustrated and stopped. But I don't know. I didn't play it enough for it to be like really, really funny yet.
Yeah, if you're gonna go play Frog Fractions, you really need to say to yourself, like, I'm going to stick with this for at least 5 minutes, or you're gonna miss the point. That's all I'm gonna say. Like if you go to it and you play it for 10 seconds and you're like, why is everybody whatever?
I did think it's funny though that they added like they have their Kickstarter for Frog Fractions 2, and there's this whole ARG going on with the the find the next Frog Fractions game because they're not telling you what it is or anything. But their stretch goal is $2 billion. Buy back Oculus from Facebook. I thought that was funny.
Who says they'd sell it for $2 billion? Who knows? All right. My gaming week, honestly, because I was in the city this weekend visiting Grandpa from Horde House. We went and saw Drag Queens, which we'll talk about on this week's Horde House, because we talk about online games, and then apparently it sometimes turns into Drag Queen talk. But no, for real, as far as video games go, I haven't been playing as much just because I've been a little busy, but I was playing Final Fantasy XIV quite a bit with the whole patch and everything. I was checking out what was new over there, like the challenge log was kind of fun to do some of those, and especially the ones that are for the companion, because being able to have another way to get my Chocobo experience is very, very welcomed, so that was a good thing. I've also been playing on the PC Diablo 3. The new expansion, Reaper of Souls, came out, and I've been playing that, and that has been a lot of fun, too. I'm not quite level 70 yet, but I'm just making my way through Act 5 slowly but surely. Some of my friends are already in the end game adventure mode stuff, and they say it's great, and I really want to get there myself, so I've been playing a little bit more Diablo 3, and then also still playing Final Fantasy X, the HD remaster, on my PlayStation 3. However, I finally got my copy of South Park today, so I'm a little worried that is going to take over the RPG on my PS3 for now. So sorry to all my whiny Final Fantasy X characters, but Cartman and the crew are going to take over for a little while, I think.
They will.
So excited about that.
Finish that.
So, yeah, that's pretty much my gaming week. Not a lot of new stuff. So, all right, some housekeeping. Of course, we always say, add us on Facebook. Wink, wink. Facebook.com/orangeloungeradio, because, of course, we do ask our interactive questions and interact with our community over there. So, yeah, I did talk about how it's changed communication, right? So we like to communicate with you guys there. Facebook.com/orangeloungeradio. We're also on Twitter, twitter.com/OLR. And as far as I know, we are still here for the next few weeks. We don't have any shows off planned as far as I know. So if for whatever reason we end up with a week off in the near future, I'll let you know. But for now, we're sticking with it. We just moved it. This is only our second show from these nice new digs. We still got to break them in a little bit. So we're going to figure out how we're going to use this TV over here. If we want to put the chat room on the TV, or if we're going to hook up some old school video games so we can play during the show.
I think for chat room.
For chat?
Yeah, because then I don't have to keep looking at this thing.
Hi,
chat room.
Especially if we have guests in the studio, it'd be really good to kind of have. So we'll see. And some we are throwing the ideas around about video, but I'm not going to commit to anything. So I'm just going to say it's more of a possibility in this space now than it was the old space. Oh, I guess I should say I did finally hook up my PlayStation 4 camera. Thank you to all of you out there in the wild who have been texting and tweeting me pictures of, hey, look, PlayStation 4s are in stock everywhere. So, yeah, if you still want a PlayStation 4 camera, they're apparently super easy to find now. I guess they really were holding them for the Japanese launch, because it seems like after that happened, they started showing up again. Please do not buy one at GameStop, however, because I thought that was really shitty how they marked up the price $10 because they were hard to find. So they're at every other retailer right now, though. So buy your PlayStation 4 camera if you want one. I haven't done any live streaming, but I did play the Playroom a little bit, which was silly, as you'd expect. I mean, the technology's kind of neat, but it's more of a more of a tech demo than a game.
It didn't compel you to get naked on the camera like it seems to compel these other people for some reason on streams.
Thought about it, but then I said, you know what? That would be indecent. All right. Anyhow, let us get into some gaming news, of which there's a lot going on besides just the Oculus Rift sale thing. There's a lot going on this week. So, Loki, why don't you start us off?
Yes, lots of things, including investments in social media and the game developers and the like. Of course, Facebook took a little bit of a hit when they announced that they're buying the Oculus. I guess they were down, 4.5, was it 451? So that's not a ton. And, it's usually just a knee-jerk reaction stuff. Especially, people are going to be jumping back in when they see that it's actually going to be worthwhile. And then, of course, Candy Crush Saga, the developer King, they had their IPO this week, which I know that I saw lots of pictures from that. And I guess it originally it went from their initial, I don't remember how much they were charging for it, but it went down 15.5% of its value, down to $3.50, or I guess a total of $3.50 down to $19 a share. So I'm not sure what it is.
King needs to prove that they're not a one-trick pony. That's what it is. Everybody thinks, because I think a lot of people felt very burned by the Zynga thing.
I watched, because I was bored on Friday, and I was doing, a lot of order entry, so I tend to, listen to things, not necessarily podcasts, but, a lot of these, GDC talks and stuff like that. So I actually listened to one. It was from 2012. I don't remember exactly the conference, but it's basically the guy that helped the folks that made Temple Run port it over to Unity and put it out there. And he talked about how, a game like Temple Run, you don't know what's going to be successful. A lot of people don't know. They put out about 50 other games before Temple Run, and they didn't even think that it was going to be that big of a game. They had actually put more effort into another game that launched kind of before it. And so you never know. And that's the kind of thing. It's
the exact same story with Flappy Bird.
Yeah,
Flappy Bird was one guy.
Or even Candy Crush Saga. I mean, Candy Crush Saga is kind of a ripoff of a bunch of other stuff. But, you don't know. It could be very well they could put out another 50 games and still not have the same success that they did with Candy Crush Saga.
Right.
I mean, you don't know. That's why it's so risky to, kind of invest in this stuff.
Well, here's the thing. If King.com really wants to get to the next level with their stock, then all they need to do is click on the button to order a special blue lollipop that will help enhance their stock value. Otherwise, they're never going to be able to clear this level. You're a victim of your own success. You made your bed, lie in it. Anyway, good luck, I guess, to King.com. You're going to need it.
And then I was also going to say that, to kind of go along with King, you may remember in Europe they had they pulled back on trying to register, I guess, a trademark for Saga, but they still have, I guess, they're attempting to trademark the term Candy. And
didn't they acquire that from somebody else? That was the deal with
I
Candy?
think that they had was it Zeptolab or something like that? Or it was Zeptolab is the studio that does Cut the Rope, and they're actually trying to fight the whole Candy trademark because I guess it was owned. I don't even know why someone would own that in the first place, even if it was something that they bought at someone else's IP or something. It just doesn't make any sense. But apparently, King was trying to trademark the word candy in U.S. and I guess they think they got in Europe, but they're kind of fighting them, I guess, for it. So, and of course, King says, this does not affect our Europe trademark for candy, and we continue to take all appropriate steps to protect our IP. No, your IP is Candy Crush Saga. Your IP is not Candy or Crush or Saga. See, I don't understand how they would even be able to give them that, or even just the word Saga, just like Vil. You can't trademark Vil.
None of us understand it, Loki. That's why we're all sitting here going, they really need to revisit how this whole system works, because we do not live in the same day and age that we did 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when a lot of this stuff was first, last visited. That's the big problem. Anyway,
I don't know.
All right, well, moving on to a different note here. This is actually kind of a follow-up from my Game Developers Conference. This is some other information that came out of one of the talks, and, there's been a lot of talk. We even got into it a little bit on last week's show, but Igarashi is the producer of the Castlevania series, or at least was for a very long time. We moved on to the social games, which he wasn't finding the same, I guess, rewards with doing. So he left Konami. But he was doing some talks at GDC, and of course, some people want to know about the whole Metroidvania thing. Where did that come from? Where did Metroidvania start and so forth? And what was interesting is that he talked about how he took over Castlevania and so forth, and one of the goals that they wanted to accomplish was that they wanted to increase the amount of time that people would spend playing the game. Because you remember the older Castlevanias were all stages. It was all stages. So they wanted something that would extend the life a little bit. So Igarashi said, quote, We really wanted to extend the life of the game. And the one game that popped up in our heads was Legend of Zelda, an exploration-filled action game. Pretty much our entire team, including myself, were huge fans of the game, and we wanted to make something very similar. So now you know the origin of inspiration actually wasn't Metroid. And he talks about with the name Metroidvania, I like the name and I respect it. And I like the meaning behind it. It fits very well. So I'm actually kind of honored that Metroid, the name, is attached to Castlevania and that it morphed into this one word. So I liked it very much. But in reality, Castlevania Symphony of the Night was a Zelda-vania game.
But we don't care what your inspiration was for the game. We're just saying that this game and this game look similar. Thus, Metroidvania. It has nothing to do with what your inspiration was. Your inspiration could have been tacos, and we're not going to call it Tacovania. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I want to call it Tacovania. I hope now that he's moved on, he can make Tacovania. Actually, I almost said Tacomania.
I would fully support that.
I would like Tacomania.
You can play the classic taco hunter Dark Sakura as she crawls through the castle looking for tacos and all the ingredients.
Stop it. I forgot to bring dinner, so I want tacos.
I'm sorry.
Tell Ellen to bring us tacos.
During the break, there's a Gym Boys like literally right.
Ew! No, I want good tacos. Oh my god! No! Gym Boys, I always associate with crushing intestinal pain.
Oh.
So no.
They're crushing with flavor. It's fucking delicious.
No, it's crushing with my body trying to kill
I
itself.
like that. They put Parmesan cheese on their tacos. I think it's delicious. It is. I know it sounds so weird, but that's what they have on the shelves.
They're delicious.
I'm with you. They're great. Anyway, yet another company that's not paying us to endorse our product. But in the case of Dark Sakura, she's saying, stay away, it'll give you diarrhea.
Speaking of...
No. It gives you the opposite of diarrhea.
Speaking of...
You will not leave the bathroom for 2 hours.
So my wife wanted me to try the Ritz crackers that taste like bacon. Or, I'm sorry, they claim they taste like bacon.
Yeah.
You know what they taste like? Hot dogs. They have that hot dog aftertaste. I'm like... And that's the thing. I'm all, this doesn't really taste like bacon. I'm like, it kind of tastes like hot dog. She's like, you know what? It does. So they should just market them as Ritz hot dogs.
Act Deft in our chat room Act Deft, our friendly neighborhood Mexican, as he calls himself, over at live.vognetwork.com says, guacamole is kind of Tacovania if you think about it.
For the record, I would like to say that I did not see an Adalberto's on the way here. I saw an El Forastero, which was part of Adalberto's a while back.
It's all something Bertos in this town anymore. Anyway, we're not a food podcast. We're a video game podcast.
I want dinner.
Dark Sakura, what do you have for us?
A bunch of fuckery. That's what I have next. So remember Leland Yee? Remember how we all laughed when he got arrested?
Well, that was earlier this week. We haven't had the chance to laugh at his arrest here on the show yet. So if we all could take a minute, let's just take a minute to laugh.
That fucker.
Shit.
So if anyone who doesn't know who this guy is, basically he tried to pass all this anti-video game legislation and violence. Anyway, so yeah, he was arrested for a bribery and corruption. And on top of that, one of the things that he was involved in were rocket launchers.
Yeah, it was trying to bring in guns for like some New Jersey mafia or something like that.
He's basically associated with Raymond Chow, who ran the Chi Kung Tong. I hope I pronounced that right. It's basically Chinese mafia. And trying to get in rocket launchers.
Now, in his defense, you guys, I'm going to say something in Leland Yee's defense. In his defense, he learned it all from Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. So,
yes, he did.
I mean,
video games are to blame for everything.
Completely the video game's fault, after all.
Yeah, the whole point is he didn't want anyone moving in on his business. Other people could learn these entrepreneurial skills from Grand Theft Auto, and they could be moving in on his territory.
Well, at any rate, basically he was caught by an undercover agent who said he was looking to buy firearms, and basically It was sort of like a number of redirections. So there was a check made out to ye through an intermediary, and yeah, so forth and so on. Bitch got caught. This is what you get for wasting San Francisco's money and for being a total hypocrite douchebag.
Like, the thing about this is that even though we had a good little joke here where we laughed about it, this whole thing actually makes me, like, legitimately angry. And I'm not necessarily from the Bay Area, but I'm super close. So this guy was sort of the representative and everything of the area, and it just, this whole thing makes me so angry. Not only did he waste he wasted the taxpayer dollars on a law that was never going to fly because you can't vaguely define what is and isn't a mature game. The kids should, that was the biggest flaw of the law, is that it's not up to the government to determine in vague sense what is and isn't mature. Okay.
Or violent, I think is what, yeah.
So not only did he waste our money with that, but now there's all this, now it's more waste of money, and now it's this whole stupid, ridiculous process where they can't throw him out on his ass. They just suspend him they suspend him with pay because technically, okay, you're innocent until proven guilty, but it's 170 something pages, and he dropped out of the second. I mean, I realize you're innocent until proven guilty in this country, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And is anyone kind of looking at this going, has he come out and said, I'm innocent? Has that happened?
Well, for anyone who's interested, I actually did post a copy of the FBI affidavit in chat that comes from, of all things, our local newspaper, the Sacramento Bee, which isn't, where I got my news from. But the whole thing is posted there if you want to read it in its entirety. Yeah, and it just, there's a big thing that I've noticed a lot lately amongst politicians, that the ones who cry out the loudest against something are the ones who were hip deep in it.
Right? It's like those senators that are like, we have to pass all these laws to protect America from the homosexuals.
Well, they're fucking
giving
people in the men's room.
And they're giving hand jobs in airport restrooms.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I would never do, and I am a homosexual.
Because you have a problem with your sexuality and have identity issues.
Clearly.
Don't inflict your issues on other people in your attempt to deny what you can't accept within yourself. The end.
So this whole
politicians,
time, Leland Yee
was fucking a rocket launcher.
Loved Grand Theft Auto IRL.
IRL.
But there's a difference between a video game and IRL. Anyway.
Yeah. Those rocket launchers will actually blow up people for real, and then you'll be a murderer.
He still may end up in the video game because they like to parody real life stuff in Grand Theft Auto, so.
No, don't give this guy any fucking attention. Let's just put him away. And
you know what? If he wants to gain back any iota of respect, any sliver, any speck molecule of respect, he needs to come out and just say, yeah, I did it, and this is why.
I don't care why.
It was because I played violent video games, and this is why we need to pass this law.
I don't really give a shit why they do shitty things. They just need to say, hey, I did something shitty, and I know it's shitty.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't care why they did it.
And be a fucking man and stop letting the government pay you to commit crimes.
Be an adult.
Yes.
Because gender has nothing to do with it.
Fair enough. All right. Moving on. Loki, change of pace.
All right. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the nVidia Shield. And the nVidia Shield, it's just getting a price drop here in April. They're dropping $100 to $199. And along with that, they're getting remote game streaming. And, what's kind of cool about this is, this is supposed to allow you to stream your games from your PC. Of course, PC with a high-end NVIDIA card, because I believe that's the only thing that supports the NVIDIA Shield. And, not only can you do that, you can also play Android games on it. And what's something that they just announced for the NVIDIA Shield? But none other than Portal. That's right, Portal. And this is going to be a special version of the game that's actually going to be running on Android. And the best part about that is, not only will it be coming to the NVIDIA Shield, but it will be coming to other Android devices at probably a later time. So, no word on when exactly that's coming out, but that's pretty cool. I can't wait to play Portal on my phone. Well, of course, my luck, it probably won't run on my phone, but I look forward to the idea that I could play Portal on a phone if I got a newer phone, because I think that'd be pretty awesome. I hope it's a new Portal and not just something that they port over. Although I think it's probably just going to be a port of the first Portal game, because it might be a little too hard to do the other stuff. I don't know. What do you think? Would you play Portal on your phone?
No, because playing games on the phone is awful. Now, does the nVidia Shield thing have like the controller and stuff built into it?
Yeah.
Well, that might be a little more tolerable, but I don't necessarily feel the need to replay something just because it's the handheld experience. Did they add new stuff to the game?
I have no idea. They just announced it's Portal.
Then, hey, Portal's a great game, and for the few of you that still haven't played it, I guess this is another way to do it. I think this is more of a step to try to kind of legitimatize this nVidia Shield thing, which is in this weird kind of limbo place right now.
I saw it at like Fry's when I went and picked up my laptop. A little bit ago.
It's not really getting that same vibe or that same. It just doesn't have that same X factor that people are reporting on it and talking about it the way that the DS or even the Vita. Like, people aren't really adopting it like that.
It just doesn't look that great. Like, I just don't see. No. I can't see myself spending $200 on it. Maybe $100 if it would work on streaming games from my PC without having to have a high-end NVIDIA card, because I have a laptop. This laptop doesn't happen to have an NVIDIA card, and even if it did, it probably still wouldn't support the streaming. Or just like maybe like have like an external device that plugs in HDMI or something like that, and you stream with that locally within your house or something. That would be cool, but I don't think it's going to happen.
All right. Let's move on and talk about oh God, this is so irritating. And we've had stories about this type of thing before. We've kind of talked about this, but this is just more like it's like actually you see like bigger websites doing this. It's really infuriating. And what I'm talking about is the reselling of Humble Bundle games. And, the Humble Bundle exists to support charity. Yes, it does end up supporting developers, especially when it's usually the indie developers. Once in a while, it's I think the THQ bundle was like half charity, half
EA. Yeah.
Well, EA, usually EA's you can't choose to give any money to EA. It's all for charity and humble tip. I don't usually think the developers are even offered to get a cut in that case. But we all know that a big chunk of the reason why people do Humble Bundle is it's great games at a great price, and I can choose to give all of it to charity if I want, or I get to choose basically where the money goes. So that's what makes this kind of shit infuriating. It's always for a limited time, because developers don't necessarily want to do that forever, and they shouldn't have to. A developer's got to eat too, right? So it makes it really infuriating when then companies come around and resell those keys. And we've heard of the cases where the games are being sold on eBay and all this stuff this week. Well, apparently there was another PC games digital distributor, 7 Entertainment, that was basically shown as doing this week. And they were on this site, and 7 Entertainment owns the sites Fast2Play, Kingwin, G2Play, and a bunch of other sites as well. I have never heard of any of these. I hate to say it, I might not be giving a break to a smaller indie store or whatever, but all these things sound shady as fuck. Especially if I see something like this on there, I'm going to question that right away. So, yeah, kind of messed up. And they were talking about, there's chatter on the internet about what can we kind of do to stop this. Now, Humble Bundle has gone to the lengths of, now when you redeem your Steam keys, you don't actually have a key anymore. You click the button and it's instantly redeemed to your account, or you can gift it to somebody else. So that supposedly will cut into a lot of this as well.
But here's the thing, though, isn't it? Yeah, we're talking about the Humble Bundle here. However, there's plenty of other bundle sites that do these keys, and those sites haven't gone to the instant redeeming thing on Humble Bundle. It's just they will give you a key, and they'll give you like multiple keys. They'll give you a Desura key, they'll give you a Steam key, all that stuff. So I could see where someone can go in and spam, I'm going to buy this for $1, and then get a bunch of keys and then go and resell them.
Now, just make sure I cover all the angles here, in a statement to GameInformer.com, 7 Entertainment did reach out to them with a statement, and they did say in their statement that Kinguin is a digital platform for vendors from all around the world to sell their digital goods. If you can put it simple, Kinguin is like an eBay for gamers. We have already contacted vendors selling those products in order to receive some information regarding the origin of those keys. We're sure that this situation will be resolved within next week. I have a feeling that the statement is coming from somebody who probably doesn't use English as a first language, because there are some missing words here. Our terms of service is really clear. It's prohibited to sell games commonly offered as free or games from any charity events. And then they move on to say, we support the Humble Bundle, we'll take care of it type of thing, which, okay, good on them for doing the right thing. But I have to say this too. We need to, as the gamers, it's very important that not only should we report this kind of fuckery when we see it, it is so important that we don't support it. Because here's the thing. These resellers wouldn't exist if people weren't buying them. And we have to resist the temptation of, I can get the game at such a low cost. It's like the old piracy argument. Yeah, you can get the game for free, but at what cost, really? You know what I mean? So I think we as the gamers have to accept some responsibility, too, in resolving this situation, that we don't support these sales of bundles when we see them. And I don't think any of our listeners would do that, but keep your ears out, because maybe other people or people they know.
At the same time, though, I mean, it's almost the same as just going and purchasing them for like $1, when the Humble Bundle thing comes out. I mean, you can do that. You're within your rights to do that. Granted that they want you to pay more than $1, but they have that minimum there. So I don't know. Is it not a good? I mean, the fact that they're exploiting it, maybe using like a bot or something to purchase multiple dollar sets of keys and stuff. Okay, that's wrong. But I would say purchasing a game from a site that's reselling it, I don't know if that's necessarily. I mean. Yeah, you could be giving more money to the publisher, but at the same time, it's one person is having that copy of the game. It's not like they're pirating it. It's just that they should be paying the developer more for it. But then again, you can make the whole argument, well, then you shouldn't be buying games through the Humble Bundle. You should be buying games straight from the developer. So I don't know. I just think the morally wrong part would be just, the fact that they're reselling the keys, but I wouldn't necessarily fault anybody that's purchasing games that are inexpensive, because let's be honest, a lot of stuff that's on Steam is very inexpensive at different places at different times for different reasons.
I mean, if you don't know where the keys came from or anything like that, or maybe, there's probably people out there, probably, again, not the type of people that listen to our show, but there's probably a lot of people out there who don't know what the Humble Bundle is. So they see, cheap game, they buy it. And, they're just ignorant, basically, to the situation. And that is a tricky moral ground. But if you do know better and you still continue to support it, well, I hope you feel good about yourself. That's all I really have to say about that. What else can I say?
A lot of ignorance can also be willful.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Dark Soccer, I think you have the next story for us.
I do. This is actually something about the UK copyright law, which sort of goes with games. I mean, it's something that's to be kept in mind. But it will be legal to rip CDs, DVDs, and other media within the UK. There's a guide for what constitutes legal and what doesn't. Copyright. The quote actually comes out from the Intellectual Property Office. Copyright law is being changed to allow you to make personal copies of media you have bought for private purposes, such as format shifting or backup. The changes will mean that you will be able to copy a book or film you have purchased from one device to another without infringing copyright. The only thing that limits this would be copying them with the purpose of transferring them to another owner. So, or sharing the rights. So that is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this is, what do you think is going to be the long-term impact for us over here in the U.S.?
Hopefully they'll, usually what happens in one country gets evaluated by another. I'd like to see, but we've got, facilities over here that are just completely lose their shit when anyone thinks that anything they might remotely own intellectual rights to could be duplicated or shared elsewhere. So I would even go as far as to say that we're a very greedy society that wouldn't be considering the possibility.
All right. Well, let's travel around the world and check out some games that are coming out soon as we check out release dates. Loki, starting in the U.S.
Well, there is a few things coming out this week. Starting off with Ragnarok Odyssey Ace for the PlayStation 3 and the Vita. MLB 14 The Show on PS3 and Vita. Also, if you want to get MLB 14 The Show and you also want a basketball game, they have the PlayStation Sports Pack Volume 1, which includes MLB 14 The Show and NBA 2K14 for PS3, and that's like, I guess, $89.99. So you would save a total of $30 maybe. I don't know. It's not that much. You probably could find a used copy of NBA 2K cheaper than that. And last but not least, also coming out on Friday, The Elder Scrolls Online for PC. Hooray! Oh, and the most important release of the week, of course, would be on Tuesday, April 1st, Goat Simulator coming out on Steam. That's it.
All right, traveling to Japan and checking out what's going on over there. On the PlayStation 4, Natural Doctrine comes out in a regular and Omochidashi pack. That's on the PlayStation 4 this week. On the Xbox One, I don't know why I'm seeing things listed for the various months, but yet that system's not out till September. I guess they're just starting to load those things in the system. I don't know. Anyway, on the PlayStation 3 this week, Natural Doctrine is out there as well. Looks like there's a lot more on April 10th, but that is all you have for the 3rd. Same deal with the 360, and the Vita also has Natural Doctrine. That is there as well. And on the 3DS, nothing. On the Wii U, though, you get Just Dance Wii U, the Japanese version. So I guess kind of a slow week in Japan for releases.
Well, we have a similarly slow week in the UK. We have on the 31st, Age of Wonders 3, and then on April 1st, Goat Simulator. And that's all it's given me. So have fun with those goats.
Mm-hmm.
The feathery goats and the tall goats, all of the goats.
Mm-hmm.
Goat all the things.
Yep. All right, just a couple more news stories for you guys, then the classic game of the week.
Yes. So I kind of talked a little bit last week about how the Ouya is becoming completely irrelevant, and they keep stripping things away from it that were kind of exclusive to it and made it kind of interesting. Well, here's yet another thing. The human element. You may remember that as kind of like the, I guess, emotion-driven zombie survivor horror game that it's supposed to be coming out like in 2015. I mean, I remember they announced this a while back, and there was a Kickstarter and all that stuff. Well, one of the things that's supposed to be coming to the Ouya was an exclusive prequel to the human element. That's been canceled. That's not coming anymore. They originally Robert Bowling actually donated $10,000 to the Ouya Kickstarter at the time, and they were saying that it was going to be the first console exclusive for the Ouya, and yeah, not going to happen because Ouya doesn't matter anymore.
So Ouya's starting to lose a little more and more, huh? Are they? Was there still supposed to be like another version of Ouya coming? Like I thought there was.
Supposed to be like
a smaller second release.
Ouya 2.0 or something like that. I don't even know if that's happening.
You think it's going to buck the trend?
I think that it's going to become just like another app store or something, and then I think the only unique thing would be is if it would run like also on PC. Then you could have your Android games on PC and stuff. That would be kind of cool. I mean, granted, they already have like kind of emulators for that stuff, but I don't know. I just don't really see the point anymore because it's so easy to develop, for Android or for PC. A lot of people are just going the PC Steam route.
All right, well, one more story for you guys before we get to the classic game of the week, and this is definitely not something we had back in the classic game days, but it's definitely a interesting spin on what's our modern gaming world puts us in, and that is your reputation online. And certainly Xbox has always had a bit, and to be fair, like PlayStation Network to a point as well, and any online interaction has somewhat of a bad stigma of people that get on there and just troll people, abuse people, say bad language and all this, stuff. And let's be real, the Xbox 360's little feedback and rating system really didn't do shit to change any of that, at least not in any of my experience, and I don't know if anybody feels differently. But Microsoft is trying to do some different things with the Xbox One. After all, the whole reputations do not carry over from the Xbox 360. So here's what's going to happen is that warnings will begin to fall out if your reputation falls into the needs work category based on feedback from other members of the community. This is all, by the way, in a post that Microsoft put on their Xbox Wire blog saying, quote, "These warnings are based on community feedback collected since the Xbox One launched." Now, Microsoft does plan to introduce rewards for good behavior, but if you fall into the avoid me category, like you're so bad and everybody is, saying that you are a terrible person and need to get off the internet, you will see things happen such as, quote, reduced matchmaking pairings, and the ability will be revoked to use certain privileges such as Twitch broadcasting. So yes, if you are the type to get on there and say words that start with F and N and all these things, you shouldn't be screaming on Xbox Live at people you don't know, then you are possibly going to not be able to broadcast on Twitch TV from your Xbox One. You will lose those privileges, young man or young woman, and you will go to bed hungry or something. I don't know. Like they're going to start punishing people. Now, of course, there's a part of me that kind of thinks, well, wait a minute. Could this be used for bad too? I mean, could a bunch of people start to gang up on somebody's gamer tag? Like, let's say I put out my gamer tag, and I might have my share of haters out there on the internet. I mean, any of us podcasters do, big or small. We all got haters, right? What if all those haters banded together and wanted to, screw over my Xbox profile? Can they do that? I mean, I don't know enough about Xbox. I don't have an Xbox One, so I guess I don't need to worry about it right now. But can they do that? I mean, could a bunch of people band together to screw somebody's reputation over to take away certain privileges?
I think they have an algorithm in place before they have to check, because I would think you would have to play with that person
or be randomly matched with them first, right?
Yeah,
I would hope, because
it would be kind of weird that just some random person that's never met you or never played with you is being able to vote you down and stuff. And if it's anything like the Xbox 360 was, when you play with those people, I used to do that all the time in Grand Theft Auto, especially people that disconnect early from games. I would always rank them down because it was fucking frustrating. Those are my kills. I fucking killed you a ton, and you're going to drop from the game?
I always use the 360 ranking, too, for people that dropped early from matches because I was beating them. It's very frustrating, Let's see. SSJ 100 Matt saying, entire Call of Duty, etc. clans could take down somebody's rep. And Tiger Claw asking the same question over at live.vognetwork.com. How is Microsoft going to know if all that system doesn't see any false reports? This could be open to abuse. And then, let's see. SSJ 100 Matt says, this won't do shit either, I feel. So, we'll see. I'm curious. I think it's very interesting how they tie all the privileges and stuff into that. I just hope there's some sort of way, again, we can filter the false reports.
Or what if
and have those people get punished? That's what we really need.
Someone knows PewDiePie's gamer tag or something like that, and says, hey, we're gonna knock off his Twitch stream because obviously I don't know if he streams Twitch or whatever, but we're gonna knock off his Twitch stream by banning his whatever. But then again, that also doesn't really stop you from Twitch streaming, because you could always just use an external device to do that, and I think a lot of people would probably do that anyways. But I don't know. I guess they have to have some sort of repercussions for acting like a douche, but I don't think it's really gonna matter.
My thought is that if these were perhaps related to video timestamp, it'd give a way to be able to prove that so and such had done something.
Oh, I guess that's true. That all this, the Xbox One's constantly recording you, right? Is it doing that, or is that just PlayStation 4?
It could technically record you, I guess.
Yeah. But the thought is that Well, and as far as I was aware, anything that went out on Twitch was sort of recorded anyway, server side. Mm-hmm. So the fact remains that they'd still be able to pull a timestamp off of reporting versus...
Although you may not be broadcasting on Twitch.
True.
It may affect your Twitch privileges, but certainly I bet there's people out there that are dumb enough to do a scheme like this while they're broadcasting live. I'm certain there's somebody dumb enough to try that.
Yeah.
To show off to how badass they are to all their friends, you know?
You know, it'd be the ultimate in douchebaggery from Microsoft is if they offered you, like, hey, spend $20 and you can get those privileges back.
Don't give them ideas. Be quiet. Settle down over there. All right, let's take a trip down memory lane. Let's go back to, if you didn't like the way somebody was treating you when you played a game together, you threw them out of your house. That was how it worked. We're going to go back to a more simple time in games. It's the classic game of the week. Every week, Dark Soccer goes into the gaming vault and finds a game that she thinks, hey, you kids should be playing this. Stop calling each other names on Xbox Live and go play a real game.
Yeah, call people names in person.
That's right.
While you're playing this game, because you will.
It's the classic game of the week. Dark Sakura, what is the classic game of the week?
The classic game of the week is Fighters Mega Mix, which I'm so sorry.
What do you mean you're so sorry?
Because this game is kind of shit, but it's amazing. Basically, it came out in 1996. It had no arcade release. It came out directly on Saturn. And it's a fighting game that was developed by AM2 only for the Sega Saturn, okay, and the Gamecom, but no one counts the Gamecom because that was utter shit. But it has different characters from different Sega series, such as Virtua Fighter 2 and Fighting Vipers. It has Janet from Virtua Cop 2 and the Hornet car from Daytona, USA. And you can play as the bosses of Virtua Fighter 2 and Fighting Vipers without having any codes. I mean, this basically was like...
Didn't they also have something from Samba de Amigo in there or something? Oh, sorry.
It had basically both ring styles. It had the open ring and the caged ring from the two different games. And it was considered, they tried to say that it was the first real 3D fighting game on the market. So as far as characters that were in the game, you had, from Virtua Fighter 2, you had Akira, Pai, Lao, Wolf, Jeffrey, Kagemaru, Sarah, Jack, Shundi, Lion Rafal, and Dural. From Fighting Vipers, you had Grace, Bond, Roxel, Tokyo, Sanman, Jane. Honey was renamed Candy for the American and European versions. Piki, Mahler, BM, and Kuma-chan or Panda-chan. So as far as unlockable characters, you got Bark the polar bear from Sonic the Fighters. Bean the Dynamite, also from Sonic the Fighters, who's a green duck. That basically wears a neckerchief. Deku, who is a green bean with a hat, and there's a bird under it. You have Janet from Virtua Cop 2. You had Kids Akira and Kids Sarah from Virtua Fighter Kids. You had Hornet, which was the car from Daytona, USA, which was really stupid. My favorite Rent-A-Hero, who only came out in... the Rent-A-Hero franchise only came out in Japan. There was a Mega Drive game, and there was the Dreamcast one, Rent-A-Hero number 1. You had Siba, who is a prototype for Virtua Fighter, who never made it out. You had Uraban, who was another Fighting Vipers character. You had the AM2 Palm Tree. You know what I'm talking about, right? From the AM2 logo. And Mr. Meat, who in Japan was just called Miku. He's basically meat that fights, which is another good character. So yeah, there were a bunch of different things. You basically had you could do different color, outfits in the games. You had each of the stages from the various games except for Dural. And the underwater one wasn't used, so she gets maulers instead. And there are critical hit flashes and blood from the Fighting Vipers matches. Those were sort of differences with the different series. You also had Virtua Fighter 3 previews, including you had the announcer for Virtua Fighter 3, you had the Virtua Fighter 2 characters doing their VF3 poses. Jeffrey's Virtua Fighter 3 theme song was used in Deku Stage. So, and Janet used Aoi Umeno Koji's moves from Virtua Fighter 3. So it was sort of a big nod to Virtua Fighter 3. As far as regional differences, there are different extra options. There's like a girls' course that had honey in her undies, and in the U.S. it was changed to her clothes and her Player 2 outfit. And then a different image of Tokyo, and different, just basically removing anything that showed boobs, be they man or female. So, but that's it. Everyone needs to play this game and play as Rent a Hero or Mr. Meat. That's Fighters Mega Mix. Good
awesome.
Game.
I've never played this, actually.
Well, then you'll have to come to my house and play it.
Why don't you bring it? I'm just kidding.
It
definitely looks like those, one of those like older fighting games, right? Kind of before, like a PS1 era. I know it's more Saturn, but it definitely looks like kind of like one of those fighting games with the whole like 3D technology and so forth. But it's kind of cool that it's all those characters together and so forth. I don't know. I've heard of this game. I just never played it myself. So I like it when there's a classic game of the week that even I need to learn a thing or two about. So
it's a fucking weird game. I mean, just playing as the Daytona car is bizarre. But
I want to see.
I always like playing as Rent a Hero.
Yeah. All right, there it is, your classic game of the week, Fighters Mega Mix.
Originator says Mr. Meat sounds like a porn star name.
It might be. I don't know. All right.
You know what? I want some meat. I'm hungry.
Well, we've got a little break coming up right now, and who knows? Maybe Dark Sakura's gonna fly and try to get something. Who knows? But we're gonna take a break here, and when we come back, there's plenty more Orange Lounge Radio to come. We have some more news stories. We have the FUs of the week. We also have the mailbag and your Twitter topics and your phone calls. All when we come back right after this with more of Orange Lounge Radio. Welcome back, everybody, to Orange Lounge Radio, live on this March the 30th of 2014, episode number 546 of our show in progress. And, of course, as I always say, if you want to join us live in our chat room, live.vognetwork.com, because, after all, it's a show for everybody. Every gamer has a voice here, and you guys can participate through the show through chat comments or through calling us later or tweets or what have you. We want you to join us here, and we'd like to hear all the opinions, because a diverse amount of opinions is how we make educated decisions, right? So, anyway, myself here... Yeah, exactly. Myself here, Rob Roberts, with you in the studio. That ignorant voice you hear over there is Dark Sakura. No, I'm just kidding.
Bitch, please.
And, of course, Techmaster Loki here with me as well.
Hello.
Speaking of ignorance and fuckery and all that sort of thing, just a friendly public service reminder from those of us here at Orange Lounge Radio that this week is April Fool's Day. That is on, Tuesday? Is April 1st. Mm-hmm. And that means that really the way time zones work, that's going to start hitting like midday Monday,
Don't believe a damn thing.
Exactly. So just be careful. Like, I think it's already starting. Like, somebody put the rumor out there that, or not even rumor, just like these fake screenshots of Nestor from Howard and Ness in Super Smash Brothers. I think it was the thing that's circulating out there right now, and it's an April Fool's joke. Now, I don't know when we started doing April Fool's jokes not on April Fool's Day, but you're doing it wrong. So, yeah, just a friendly public service announcement for those of us here at Orange Lounge Radio, especially if you are listening to this show. I know many of you do listen to this podcast on Monday. I know we have a lot of Monday commuters and Monday worker people that listen to us while they work, thank you for having us be your soundtrack, for one. But just, friendly reminder that you're going to start seeing the April Fool's Day fuckery happen any minute now.
So
look out.
I will say these things.
Hide your wife.
Number 1, I'm not moving. Number 2, I don't work at Disneyland. And number 3, Dan and I are still married. Mm-hmm. And number 4, fuck April Fool's Day.
Let's see. What would be the top rumors about myself I need to dispel for April Fool's Day?
I did do an April Fool's Day thing at work one time where I was in a meeting with my boss. I said, by the way, I got hired by Pixar. And she believed me.
Aww.
And then I was like, and I'm totally doing an April Fool's joke, and she just said, "Oh my god," like that. So yeah.
Let's see. What would be my top things? First off, I will not be getting evicted from the house I just moved into. Let's see. I am not leaving to go work for a video game company, at least not this week. Let's see. What else is there?
You're still a cutie pie.
Oh, shit. Wait, April Fools? I'm gonna cry. Loki, are there any big rumors you would like to dispel in advance of April Fool's Day?
No.
And
that I know anything about the next Call of Duty.
Rob's all red in the face now.
Because that's really funny, although not everybody's going to get that joke. But if you know the whole story, it's really funny.
Oh, by the way.
Just said. What?
Another fact. I'm not naming my firstborn Grunt because I'm not going to have a firstborn.
You never know. Never
No,
say never.
I know. I'm not having any children. I have a cat.
Okay.
No children from me. It's not happening ever.
Okay. Fair enough. Kitties are children, too.
My Midna is awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let us get into some rapid fire news and talk about all that other stuff going on in the gaming industry that we don't think is an April Fool's Day joke. We think these are legit. I sure hope so anyway. All right, Loki.
So Origin is no longer going to be selling physical PC titles. They are stopping that as of the 4th, which is Friday. And basically because they're solely selling digital stuff. And I guess if you want to get physical copies of games, which are really just discs and codes for Origin anyways, then you could probably just go through retailers and do that. Now they're saying though that it's basically it's just games on Origin. It's not necessarily all EA games. I mean, you can buy those elsewhere, just not from Origin. Project Cars is a really cool looking game. It's kind of like your really high detail auto simulation type game, and they're going to be adding virtual reality to it. And it's going to be one of the first PlayStation 4 games to support Sony's Project Morpheus. So of course they said virtual reality is a perfect fit for racing games, since the game would literally comes rushing towards you from the distance and increased sense of depth and speed that stereoscopic vision affords you makes this incredible and real and tangible. And they actually have already seen gameplay from the Oculus Rift version, so it makes sense. If they're already developing it for one, they could easily develop it for the other. All right. And then, of course, to go along with that, Sony is actually working on... you may remember... God, I don't even remember how many years ago. Was it 2012 or something? Yeah, 2012, E3.
That wasn't that long ago, Loki. Jeez.
Well, in game time, that's pretty long. Okay, for a game that's not out yet, okay? That was supposed to have been out later that year.
That was the last time we heard about The Last Guardian as well, right?
This is Until Dawn. I don't know if you remember, this is the was it Survivor horror game that was going to be a move game, and it was kind of like, that teenage, almost like one of those like cliche horror movies, with the teenagers in the woods or something, and someone gets kidnapped and all sorts of shit goes down. Well, apparently now it's being retooled for the PlayStation 4, and it's also going to be a virtual reality title because it's very interesting because it's a horror game. They said so I don't know. I thought that they just canceled the title, but I guess it's still being developed, so it'll be interesting. And then there's a new game from the developers of Wipeout. And no, it's not another Wipeout game. But it's sort of like the Micro Machines games. It's a tabletop racing game it's tabletop racing. It's coming to mobile and Vita, and kind of reminds me of Micro Machines. I don't know. They're going to have all sorts of stuff in there. 17 cars you can upgrade, 8 tracks, 9 power-ups. They have time trial stuff, racing, eliminator, and 4-player online multiplayer. And it's coming to like mobile devices, so iOS, Android, and Vita.
Is that going to be like the way you describe it there? Is it going to be like, I know this is more from the first-person perspective, but I sure miss the Ivan Stewart's Super Off-Road Racing. It was at every pizza parlor.
It looks kind of like a combat racing game. So, well, it's more like I don't know, like a
maybe Mario Kart
not
meets
Twisted Metal, but like kind of like just Burnout almost, or even what was that game from Activision? That was like their racing game that is car combat and stuff. I can't remember now, but oh, it looks interesting. That little ice cream truck they have on there reminds me of Sweet Tooth, but you know, I know it's not. But it looks neat.
All right, well, moving on. Let's get into some other game news. Here's a game, speaking of games that we didn't really hear about after they first announced it, it's nice to get a little update on Disney Fantasia Music Evolved. This is the harmonics game that is using Kinect and kind of disappeared. We thought it was going to be a launch game for Xbox One, but it wasn't. But we do have some news about more songs that are going to be featured in the game. Nicki Minaj's Super Bass, which is interesting. The White Stripes' Seven Nation Army, and the most overplayed song I think I've ever heard in my entire life, that song Royals by Lorde. Right?
Hey, I love that song.
Yeah, but I like that song the first 5,000 times I heard it. 'Cause we'll never be royals.
Oh, God.
Meow, 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 meow. That's, I swear to God, that's what the song sounds like to me now. It's just a bunch of howling cats in heat. So I can't hear that song anymore. So that's one song I will not be playing in Fantasia Music Evolved. But you know what I will be playing that is awesome? David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust is also in the game. Now, that's cool.
Awesome.
Also kind of awesome is the fact that there's classical music also in the game, which kind of strikes me as a nod to the original Fantasia. So Dvorak's Symphony No. 9 from the New World is also in there. So that's pretty cool. So if you like your classical music, which I think Dark Sakura does.
That's my favorite.
I do indeed. Actually, Dvorak's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. Moving on to other news. Could it be that Tecmo Koei wants to work on Mario? Yeah, in an interview with ONM.
Mario Other M.
Well, yeah, right. So Tecmo Koei did the whole Other M, right? Which kind of got some mixed reception. I don't think it was as bad as some people made it out to be, but
different.
It was just different. Yeah, it was just different. So could you imagine a different type of Mario game? Well, here's the quote. Disney, Star Wars, and Mario are just a few of the various franchises we'd like to work with. So in other words, he wants to work with popular characters. Can't say I blame him. This story is a bit of a duh, isn't it? I think I'd like to make a game with very popular characters.
I think I'd like to make a successful movie.
I would like to make a successful game. I would like to create a game that will be guaranteed success on name alone. That's what I'd like to do.
I'd just like to show up, throw that franchise on my cover, and be done with it. Because you know anyone will buy anything that's Disney, Star Wars, or Mario.
I'd like to make Mario is Missing 2. That's the game I think I'd really like to make. Yoshi's Cookie 3D. Isn't that what the world's been clamoring for?
We're going to reboot all the CDI games.
Hey, speaking of like Takeover and so forth, Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct doesn't have a developer right now because Double Helix got acquired by Amazon, so that isn't gonna work for Killer Instinct. However, Iron Galaxy has now been tapped as the group to pick up on Killer Instinct where Double Helix left off. After all, there's supposed to be a season 2 of characters at some point. Iron Galaxy has done a variety of games, including Dive Kick, which has done some interesting things in the fighting industry as well. They have also contributed to games like Marvel vs. Capcom Origins, Darkstalkers Resurrection, and Street Fighter III Third Strike Online Edition. So this is a pretty big project for them, but good luck. And don't fuck it up.
Seriously.
Moving on, Darkstalker.
In other news, now this is something that's pretty exciting for me and Dan since Outrun is a big favorite in my house, but it's going to be the 11th 3D classic title for the 3DS in Japan. So that means definitely going to get it. And also, while the page actually goes to the Fantasy Zone page, there's supposed to be confirmation coming for Outrun before too long. Also,
nice.
There's also a Legend of Zelda crossover with the Sonic the Lost World. Basically, there is a Legend of Zelda zone where Sonic dresses up as Link, and he goes against some of the same enemies that exist in Link's world, including Cuckoos, as in Chicken Swarm. Okay. And then, last but not least, EA has Dead Space for free on Origin right now, which has been done before. I think they did that with... they did it with Dead Space before. But now this is part of their On the House promo, where basically you get a free game, and you keep the free game instead of a trial weekend.
I may not always like Origin, but I like free. So here we go. Now, to tie it back to something we talked about in the very beginning of the show... Here's how nothing's truly free. Because, yes, you can get this game for free, but you'll have to install Origin.
It wasn't that bad.
Not really that bad.
Now, you know what? Since I already have Origin installed, and I think was it Populous that I got through Origin? Was that one of the games they gave away before? I'm going to go get Dead Space. Why not? How long is this good
You
for?
probably already have it.
No, I don't. You
didn't buy the EA and Humble Bundle?
Oh, I did.
You probably
that's when
already
I got
have
it. I think that's when I got
That's
it.
the downfall of those Humble Bundles. You get so
But I
many
think
games
I'd
you don't even
gotten-
remember you have.
I think I'd gotten Dead Space 3 though on some sort of...
That's probably
cheaper.
the same Humble Bundle.
I don't have Dead Space 2 though. I should probably sit and
Yeah,
play
'cause
these because fucking hell.
You have all these games. You bought them on the
Like,
Humble
I have
Bundle.
Battlefield 3. I should install it now
But I didn't
because I was
get
like,
2.
I'm not fucking installing Origin. Then Titanfall came out. I was like, I'm installing Origin to play Titanfall.
I feel like there's an OLR new game show idea in here. Which game do you already own that you forgot
There's
you
a ton
owned?
of like, there's like seriously on like Humble Bundles and stuff. I'll see like, oh man, I got to get the game, and then
Only
I
limited
look,
to Steam, is that it?
I buy it or something,
Or Origin?
and then it's like you already own that game. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I got 1 and 3 on the Humble Bundle thing too, so whatever.
I guess it could even have a little theme song. You're gonna have to face it. You're addicted to sales. I don't know, something like that.
Well, at any rate, the On the House thing is, I think, just for each weekend. It's not really giving me too much of a detail going on the thing, but they're saying that okay. I'm going to read it directly off the thing. Free, what's the catch? There's no catch. Grab full games, expansions, and more at absolutely no cost. Just make sure to act fast because On the House specials can appear and disappear at any time. You mean a free trial or demo, right? Nope, you're getting the full version of the real game for free. Once you've claimed it, it's yours to keep.
Well, I like free.
I like free too because I'm poor. I have
All
a
right.
car payment now.
Darsaka wants free tacos. That's what she wants.
No,
right
you
now.
know what? I don't want tacos. I want free filet mignon because I deserve it. I'm worth it because I'm worth it.
You're worth it.
I had
You're
to do
good
the-
enough. You're strong enough.
And doggone it, fuck everything. No, I tried to do the hair toss, but I forgot I don't have enough hair.
Aw.
Look at this mess. It got re-dyed though. Thank you, Becky, for dyeing my hair.
Is that what girls do when they get together? They just dye each other's hair.
Becky and I dye each other's hair and talk shit about people and drink wine.
You better not have been talking shit about me. Better not be me.
No, me and Becky are going to be like on like they are on AbFab, except we're not so shallow, and I actually eat. And we're going to be
I love Patsy and Adina. I love them.
We're just going to be like them though all day with our glasses of wine, talking shit about people.
Sweetie darling. Anyway. Sweetie darling, let's talk about Facebooks. The Facebooks, darling. It's your face in a book.
I love Jennifer Saunders.
It's Facebook and Google+. You slam those words together, you get Foogle. It's the Foogle question of the week.
It's Radio
Every week, we ask a question of our fan communities on Facebook and Google+, and we share some of our favorite answers with y'all here on Orange Lounge Radio. And the Foogle question of the week ties into a story we talked about earlier in the show. Here's a story that caught our eye. Do you think it's fair to suspend certain console features based on an individual's reputation in online gaming? Why or why not? And this ties back to the whole, you might not be able to broadcast from your Xbox One on Twitch anymore if you have been reported as having a shitty attitude one too many times. So some of the answers here are going to, let's start on Google Plus tonight. And Evil starts us off, or E3VL starts us off, saying yes. Because, again, the question we pose to the listeners is it fair? Why or why not? Yes, as long as it's a temporary lockout. It will condition them not to be assholes online and give new players or those who just want to have fun online not be discouraged to play an online session or match without the thought of any harassment within the online player base. ActDef follows up saying, I agree. I think something like timeout is needed a lot of times with people that take their games too seriously or also just there to troll, but I don't think a termination of service should be handed unless it's something truly severe. Why do I have an image of Super Nanny popping into my head all of a sudden? You've been very naughty. You go and you sit on the naughty step and you don't move from the naughty step until I tell you it's okay.
You know what?
What?
When I used to take escalated calls, I used to tell people I'd give them a timeout if they were yelling at me.
You go sit on the naughty step.
I'd say, I'm going to put you on a 2-minute timeout, and we'll call back and see if you can be civil.
Customer service all-star Dark Sakura, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't do that anymore. I can't really do that anymore, but...
All right. Lastly, Travis H. on Google Plus says, I think something like this should have been implemented a long time ago. Some people just don't grow up. Punish them like children. Agreed. There you go. So some fans of that over on Google Plus. Let's check out the answers over on Facebook and see if they agree. Redtertainment says, remember that long list of fine print that's part of the agreement you hastily clicked that you signed even though you didn't? No. Well, if language is not included in that agreement, you didn't read that allows for the taking of privileges based on customer reputation. The customer may have a case in saying that since the customer paid for the services advertised, they should get the services advertised. However, since language like that probably exists and people rarely read those agreements, people will probably bitch about not getting what they paid for, but still powerless to get their Twitch streaming back. Corporations are wonderful. I would bet that's a good point, and I would bet there is a clause in there. I would bet anything there is a clause that they can add or remove features at any time. Because if you think about it, Sony got rid of the Linux thing on the PlayStation 3 a long time ago, and they really couldn't be sued over it, although it didn't make them popular for a little while. But they had the right to remove those things, and that was in that agreement nobody read. And I would imagine the right to add or remove features does not have to necessarily be a universal right. And even if you didn't like it anyway, Redtertainment, you already agreed to the arbitration clause in there, so you won't be able to take them to Judge Judy.
The end result sucks to be you.
Sucks to be all of us. But at the same time, I personally don't necessarily disagree with what Microsoft's doing as long as they have something in place to prevent abuse of this system. Isn't that ironic? Abusing the system for abusers. Red the Haze responds and says, I think it's totally fair since it's a service of a private company and not run by the government, which is what the constitutional right to free speech is and is only protected from the government. I just hope Microsoft has fixed the rep system because of sore losers and bullies abusing the system. Cial responds and says, sounds like a good idea and a bad idea, depending on how they determine if you're good or bad. Also, do they have a system in play if you redeem yourself, quote unquote, or are you doomed to be grounded by Microsoft forever? Critical Myth says, if they can apply the basis for the reputation changes correctly, sure, why not? But that's a tall order, I think. And lastly, Burr on Facebook says, I think the only features that should be suspended are the ones that allow you to continue to grief others. Twitch streaming arguably applies because you could be doing it just to attract more attention to your trolling, but that's about as far as I would stretch that logic. So it seems in general, the consensus, that was all our answers, by the way, this week. If you want to answer us in a future week, add us on Facebook, facebook.com/orangeloungeradio. I do want to apologize. I posted the question very late today, which is probably why we had fewer responses than usual, but I got back from San Francisco about 90 minutes before Bobby's show, so it didn't leave me a lot of time. So anyway, but in future weeks, I'll be better about posting that question in advance. But it does seem like the consensus overall from Facebook and Google is that people are like, okay, yeah, I'm cool with this idea, but they've got to show that they can execute it right. Like everybody's got, or most everybody seems to have that side of, okay, I like this on paper, but is it really going to work like that? Or are we going to accidentally ban all these people that don't deserve it? Or what's going to happen? So we shall see.
Well, when we see, huh?
Mm-hmm. So that's it for the Google question of the week. Let's get back to some news. Loki.
All right. So this is kind of interesting. You remember we talked a little bit about 3D Realms and how they were kind of getting in trouble with Gearbox with the whole Duke Nukem trademark and stuff like that. Well, here's an interesting, I don't know if it's interesting, but it's kind of maybe an expected twist. 3D 3D Realms is saying, no, actually, we do own the rights to Duke Nukem. Basically, was it on March 17th, 3D Realms filed its answer to the complaint by Gearbox, because they have to do that when they get sued and stuff. They have to kind of bring their response in. And they deny all allegations set forth by, in the complaint, and basically said that, 3D Realms has submitted evidence that shows that Gearbox at no point intended to enter into a good faith negotiation, but instead fought to force former owners of the company to improperly surrender what rightfully belonged to 3D Realms, and it's in the position that they retain the rights to Duke Nukem Survivor. Which is, the game that they're trying to put out right now. It was the one that was previously called Duke Nukem Mass Destruction, but now it's Duke Nukem Survivor. And furthermore, it's their position that the trademark for Duke Nukem was never assigned to Gearbox, but remains the sole property of 3D Realms. So I'm guessing they're going to go to court. Or they're going to settle. Because,
Yay.
But it's definitely not going to be, yeah, we did that. Oops. Honestly, though, in the end of all this, does any amount of Duke Nukem games coming out that are brand new even do anything for that franchise anymore? Because I think that Duke Nukem Forever soiled that franchise so bad.
The Duke Nukem Steam version.
Well, that's just Duke Nukem 3D.
Yes.
That was fantastic because it's an older game. That was awesome.
Yes.
But anything
What's
beyond,
old is new again. Haven't you heard?
Taking, Duke, anything like brand new beyond Duke Nukem Forever is kind of like, it's not that big anymore. It's not really a franchise that I'm that excited about. When I hear it and kind of go, another Duke Nukem game. Yeah. If they had another developer come in and actually make a good Duke Nukem game.
How about back to a 2D platformer game? That would be kind of cool.
No.
Come on, the old school Duke Nukem. I want a Commander Keen game, for God's sake.
Who needs their comeuppance? That, was kind of overshadowed by Duke Nukem anyways?
Jill of the Jungle.
No, but I guess you could go ahead and do one of those.
All right.
I could see a mobile game out of that.
No fucking mobile games. Jill of the Jungle is better than that.
Halloween Harry, was another shareware game, and he had a fucking flamethrower, and it looked awesome in VGA 256 colors. So that's what I want to see.
Have I had a ZZT rant in 2014 yet? Have we had our?
It's all about Megazooks, man. It's Megazooks.
Have we had our annual ZZT rant? Have we had that rant yet?
Hasn't really been a game creation, game that's been as good as ZZT or Megazooks. I don't think so.
Okay. Like, if you're new to OLR and you haven't heard me rant about ZZT before, then I need you all to take a moment to educate yourselves. This goes far beyond.
Tell us a story, teacher Rob.
This goes far beyond classic game of the week. This is like classic game of the ever, okay? If you're into modding shit like Loki is heavily, or even like lightly, you need to go research a game called ZZT that was out on the PC that you could create your own, like, ASCII art type games, but they were like intricate little, like, role play sprite type games that you could make. And I'm sure you could probably still download the shareware or ZZ. Or
I think they
released the full
version.
thing some time ago. And you could probably still check out a lot of those games. Like, I'm dying for something that easy and that friendly and that cool to, like, come out again.
You know what I used to love? And this was, back early. This is early Maxis time. Click and Play. I don't know if you ever remember Click and Play.
Sorta,
yeah. It was a game creation thing from Maxis for Windows, and you could, like, with the registered version of the game, you could make your own stupid Windows 3.1 games. Mm-hmm. And boy, did we ever make our own stupid Windows 3.1 games.
We need an OLR ZZT game, like, for real. Like, can we do, like, a listener contest of some value where OLR ZZT? Maybe I can give loot on VOG Network for people that create a decent.
We will be obtaining, by the way, swag from another source.
Okay.
That we will have available for giveaways.
Fantastic.
For whatever we decide not to keep for ourselves.
Fine. Then we need to, like, seriously pony up an OLR ZZT contest. Let's make ZZT cool again.
Thanks to a longtime listener / coworker.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Who we spoke with last week.
Awesome. Can we get the people who made ZZT on the show? Can I have that?
You can probably just look it up. I don't know.
What are they doing these days?
Well, there's that, and like I said, Megazooks was pretty awesome. Remember, Megazooks came out afterwards, and it was kind of they had Super ZZT, which was its own thing, but that kind of sucked. But then they had Megazooks, which was kind of like the original ZZT, because Super ZZT, what they took everything instead of making it ASCII, it was like the 64 by 64 blocks or something. They made their own like blocks, and they tried to make it a little less rectangular and ASCII. But then Megazooks came out and added more ASCII features to it, but you could create your own ASCII characters. You could, I think you could have like mod music in there, all sorts of crazy stuff, scrolling backgrounds. I actually made some pretty awesome stuff with that, and I had a cool game going, but God knows where that is, probably on floppy disk somewhere.
So Tim Sweeney is who we can thank for ZZT. He made ZZT, and looking up,
a little hard to get an interview with him.
Yeah, probably because now he's with Epic working on Unreal Engine's one of the big things. Why does that not surprise me? Now, everybody's fucking using Unreal Engine, right? Why does that not surprise me that all dates back to ZZT?
Well, let's get an interview with him, and we'll just not ask him anything about Unreal. It'll all be about ZZT.
I don't give a shit about Unreal. I can come on this show.
I gotta be honest.
Talk about ZZT. Okay.
Gotta be honest, Tim. I don't give a shit about. Okay,
No,
Unreal's awesome, but let's talk about your best game engine ever, and that would be ZZT.
Actually, that's totally a lie. I do really want to know about Unreal, but fine. If that's off limits, I don't care. Let's just talk ZZT. Let's talk like it's 1995.
Let's port ZZT to the Unreal Engine. I don't know.
He's only 8 years older than us. So, like, we're older than he was when he made that game. What have you done with your life?
I haven't made ZZT.
Don't I feel like a failure?
I played at Carnegie Hall.
I made the show with my friends.
I made a game, and
I would have to say that my accomplishment's fairly decent.
All right. Oh, Bobby Blackwolf says, I have contacts at Epic. I'll see what I can do.
Well,
we love you, Bobby.
Just
if you
flopping
can
that internet penis around.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do, and then the part he did that isn't on there to get him on my show.
If you can include tacos with that deal, I'll be happy.
All right. All I'm saying, Bobby, if you get that interview arranged and it is for your show, you're getting a co-host that night. All right. Back to, in all seriousness, let's get back to some other gaming news, and this is about these newfangled games on the PlayStation 4s and the Xbox Ones, and yes, even the Wii U. I didn't realize this wasn't already happening, but apparently Redbox does not rent for those systems yet, and I'm assuming that's because...
and I should know that, but...
Yeah, no, Redbox does not rent those games on those machines yet. However, the rumors are out there saying that will start in April, and this is coming from NeoGAF, so here's your big salt lick to take this with. But then again, is this something people would lie about? I mean, this is a little bit like, this is a very natural next step for Redbox.
And honestly, it's from because I read the thread, it was... they're basically saying, it had artwork on, coming soon, artwork or whatever on the kiosk. So,
So there's all these games that are rumored to come from this, and so I mean, this is a big kind of natural next step for Redbox. So I'm sure this is just a matter of when is this going to happen, and it sounds like it'll be within the month. This leads me to this question: do you guys rent games anymore? I remember that used to be a big thing when I was a kid. It was like you would go to. It wasn't even Blockbuster for us. It was local stores here. It was actually my first job I ever had, and the chain isn't around anymore. So I can name it Placer TV Video, right? And we would go and we'd rent VHS tapes, and we'd rent NES cartridges. And that used to be that was like every Friday night. That was a party right there. Your VHS and your NES cartridge. And now it's like I don't really do that anymore. But I do use one of those mail order services that doesn't pay me to endorse them, but it's a very popular one. I'm sure a lot of you use.
They just started renting DVDs.
Yes. So who needs Netflix DVD when now you got that whole thing, right? But here's the trick with that, because DVDs are a lot cheaper, yet they don't they still charge the same rate. So it's cheaper for you to be paying that and have a DVD out than it does a game.
I think they're just trying to make it more diversified.
Sure, of course. But anyway, that's what I use now. Do you guys what about chatters? Do you guys still rent video games? Would you use this feature if it came to Redbox?
Have an idea. You could put up an OLR quick poll.
I guess I could. Well, what would the question be?
Do you rent? I don't know. This is the part where you fill
Yay,
in with
nay,
your knowledge.
don't give a
Maybe
fuck.
we shouldn't do it because the amount of effort to actually do that.
I'm tired. I'm a bit of a failure tonight, so no live poll.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, I'll think if you're dying to do a live poll, I'll think we should have polled them on something about the rift on the Facebook thing earlier. If we're gonna play that card, save it for who rents video games. Well,
Yeah, for me, like, I have a large backlog of games. I don't really need to rent anything. And honestly, if I'm probably going to buy something. Like, I'm more informed, I guess, on what's coming out and what it is and stuff versus when I used to rent games, I didn't really, I kind of got magazines and stuff and I saw pictures, but I didn't really know what the game was, and so I'd be more curious to try it out. But now I think that there's so many options where you can download a demo, or you can watch videos on it, or you can just play it, or I just think that's why I don't rent anything anymore.
Interesting. I did learn something from that question I posed to chat over at live.vognetwork.com. Akuma JP says no renting games in Japan. Sad. I did not realize that was not a part of the culture there. Interesting. Are there laws in place that prevent that, or is it just the culture kind of rejects that? Let me ask this question, Akuma JP. Do you rent like DVDs and Blu-rays and movies? I'm curious to that. Let's see. And ActDef says Redbox is getting PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games. 4 minus 1 equals 3. Half-Life 3 confirmed. All right, for that, I'm going to click on ActDef's name and do a right-click slap and slap him around with a trout in the chat room. There you go, ActDef.
Yes, right. And I'm sure that we will see plenty of Half-Life 3 news come Tuesday.
Yes, right? All right. Let's move on with some more news. We'll come back to the question I asked Akuma JP in a little bit because there's a little bit of a delay between the time we say things and when people hear it and respond. So let's do Dark Sakura's story next.
All right, I guess we could do my next. This is actually about a group called the Fine Young Capitalists. They're basically looking for anyone who identifies as a woman to take place in the Women in Video Games initiative. So you have a pitch document about a game that would be, maybe a 1,500-word document about a game with a female protagonist. And I'll go ahead and read what it says from their website. Any person who identifies as a woman can prepare a proposal of up to 1,500 words in length explaining their concept for a video game. Each pitch will be judged on originality, financial viability, level of immersion, fun, aesthetic, and feasibility with the required budget. The top 5 proposals will be given to professional concept artists and writers to create a fully realized pitch document that they can use to sell concept to third parties. So basically it's really, I think, any type of game possible, but they want to support more women in video game design. And then profits of the sale of the game would go to charity. So I'm actually considering an item already.
Like something that you would actually submit as a video game idea? Well, you have our OLR Dream Games list. You could use this inspiration.
It's hard to make anything off of that, I seriously, yeah.
What, you don't think they would take a proposal from Dark Sakura to make puzzle sluts? Seriously? Why on earth not?
No.
All right, I don't mean to belittle this story. It actually is a very cool thing. But here's my honest, difficult question that I'm going to ask, even though you might not want to hear it. Is it going to work? Because obviously we really do need... we need more diversity in the industry. We need those fresh ideas that come with the diverse cultures and opinions that form from those. We need that. But is it really going to work?
I want to make I really don't want to... do you hear that too?
It's the fridge. It's the ice maker. Mine does that all the time.
Is something peeing in my kitchen?
It sounded like someone peeing in the kitchen.
It's something that has...
And this is great radio, I know. But
no, I don't even care. Deal with it, because I thought like the cat was peeing in the kitchen
My
somewhere. I
wife
was
always
she doesn't do
accuses
that.
me. She'll check it. It sounds like the fridge is leaking. No, it's just the ice maker. Or it's something that has to do with like it draining off like condensation or something in there. But yes, it's the fridge.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Loki. My old apartment, we had plastic ice trays that we used to make the ice. So this newfangled ice maker thing, I don't know if I can handle that.
It was funny though, just because Rob starts looking like gets the prairie dog.
Is that even hooked up to the water line? Because you have a really old fridge now that I look at it.
Yeah, it makes ice. It's on the water line.
Okay, well that's what it is.
Okay, good to know.
Like, where do we hear pee coming from?
I know.
It
Let's
was
call
funny.
Alan. Alan, you need to come home and fix the fridge.
At any rate, I was thinking about, doing like just the ultimate gory, violent game, but having a very strong message of equality in it. Or another one called, is an idea I've been floating around, and don't steal my idea, anyone, because I'm copywriting it right now, called Flamethrower Princess.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a dream game I would like, about just a woman running around with a flamethrower.
Okay, setting everything on fire. Why not?
Chasing down misogynists, setting them on fire.
But the only way to stop her is to give her a taco.
No, the only way to stop her is to promote ideas of equality. And once it's sort of like, okay, in ActRaiser, how you build your villages and you protect your villages and everything. Uh-huh. Well, you create safe communities.
I see.
Of love and justice and peace, and you burn out all the opposition.
And taco making?
I'm just going to call it Tumblr the game. That's it. Tumblr the game. No, seriously. My idea for Flamethrower Princess really is just basically being stuck, like in a place and having to set stuff on fire to get out. But you have to solve puzzles with fire.
All right, Bobby Blackwolf in chat does bring up a point. He says, hey, there was a hit Xbox Live indie game that came from the OLR Dream Games.
There was.
Well, let's talk about the word hit. Look, what YYR did was brilliant, and it's a great game. And if you don't have it for whatever reason, you should absolutely check out Bungie Ferret Tossing. I'm not saying anything negative in that regard, but I mean, when I think of hit games on Xbox Live indie games, I think a lot of them were Minecraft clones and fart simulators. And unfortunately, and the game where you shoot a baby out of your vagina as far as you possibly can.
Have you played? There's one.
I will say, Bungie Ferret Tossing didn't really have much on that. But my second favorite game on Xbox Live indie game was definitely.
For the record, when I was at my friend's picnic, was it last weekend?
Uh-huh.
A few of the people there work at various game developers, and I mentioned Bungie Ferret Tossing.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, I have to find this. So
there you go.
There's one that's also like, it's like where you stack like these guys with Speedos or whatever, and you have to climb it's like almost like a co-op type game, but you have to climb the stack. I forget what it's called though, but it's hilarious.
I think I've heard about that, but I haven't.
And they have penis physics. It literally their junk swings back and forth, in their Speedo while you're playing the game.
But yeah, I have to make a Flamethrower Princess.
All right, sounds good.
And Techno Kitten Adventure. That was on there.
Black Wolf in our chat room says he's opening up a new Unity editor called Flamethrower Princess.
No. See, I have to decide if I want it to be a puzzle game or if I want it to be like Smash TV.
Can you just pitch Flappy Vog? No, I'm kidding. All right.
But it was a concept created by a man. I don't come up with...
Mount Your Friends is what it's called.
Mount Your Friends. Thank you. Wow.
You know what actually I suddenly want?
Huh.
But I'd have to harass Jamie Hewlett for it. Mm. I want a Tank Girl game.
Right.
You can play as Tank Girl or Jet Girl or Sub Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And just like save the world.
That is amazing. That's on Xbox Live Indie Games? Yeah. Kind of want it.
But yeah, maybe I'd do a Flamethrower Princess in the style of Smash TV, but like more platformy.
Okay. And what would she be fighting in the game? Because corruption is sort of a vague, how does that manifest itself?
She'll be fighting corporate sponsors. So
big
it'd be great
money, big prizes. I hate it. All right.
I might combine the concept with the Running Man, maybe.
There you go.
Flamethrower.
The Hunger Games, that's popular.
You know what? Which bit off Battle Royale, so fuck it. I still need to. I wish you had real copies of the books, Rob, so I could borrow them and not have to get them on the thing.
I was about to say something highly offensive, and I stopped
You know
myself.
what?
What? Okay, should I say something highly offensive? Yes or no? All right.
Only if you paid me with a taco for my silence.
You're not going to be able to stay silent.
What?
Let's see if you
Just
can actually
fucking
stay
say it.
silent.
Bring it. This is like George Bush. Bring it.
Well, if it's going to be a woman-inspired game, wouldn't it take its inspiration from such things like 50 Shades of Grey and Twilight?
Bitch, no.
You couldn't stay silent.
So I didn't bet any
You
real
lost
money.
a taco.
I'm going to go buy my own fucking taco, okay?
You lost the taco.
I'm going to go buy. In fact, it's going to be a fish taco. It'll be extra feminine.
Ew. All right.
Rob's red again. It's adorable. Everybody should see how red Rob is
Because
right now.
I just can't wait for what I just said.
Yeah,
to get
well, you
taken
know
out
what?
Of, taken out of context and end up on Tumblr.
You know what?
What?
I just can't even.
Well, then don't.
Fine. I've forgotten how to can.
I literally and I'm able to. Okay. Let Trelay. Moving on, Loki.
All right. I don't know how I follow that. So apparently Microsoft, because there was the whole thing. This goes back to that Fortizella, their little thing that leaked out, talking about the road plan, what they're doing with Kinect and what's going to be next gen stuff. Well, apparently they've paid up to $150 million for augmented reality hardware, or at least the IP for it. So I guess this is coming from TechCrunch. They're saying that ever-popular unnamed sources are saying that Microsoft has purchased augmented reality IP or wearable tech from Osterhout Design Group. And I guess this is going to somehow tie into that Fortizella stuff, which is supposed to be, some augmented reality thing that's going to first integrate with Kinect and then eventually become some sort of Google Glass type thing, at least according to their roadmap, if that is to believe. But so far, it's been pretty accurate. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes out of that, or kind of what they do to, counter all of this, VR stuff. And will it be worth it? Because honestly, how many goddamn times have I bought a camera from Microsoft and Sony, and it's been just like gimmick shit, more gimmicky shit. But hey, the dance games work.
I am going to need to see that killer game. And I talked about this last week. We talked about Project Morpheus with Sony, and it really goes on. I need to see that killer app. I need to see that Wii Sports.
And I need to see that killer app at retail working correctly, because when they showed, what was it? First off, the Fable game, that looked kind of weird, and then it ended up not working too well. Or when they were showing, what the fuck was that? Game of the giant controller, Jamie. Xbox game, giant controller.
Steel Battalion.
Steel Battalion. When they showed the Steel Battalion for
Sorry,
Kinect.
I know my name's not Jamie, but
whatever. When they showed that for Kinect, and it was like supposed to really utilize all the sensors and stuff, that looked kind of cool, and then it didn't work. So I just want to see something that actually works, as well as like Dance Central did, or the other dance games that used it, because it seemed like that was the only thing that worked well with it. Maybe fitness games, but I just don't see the point of doing voice commands. Voice commands in games, it doesn't make any sense, especially for stuff that I can just push, a button and do.
Oh my god, I just thought of something. Voice commands for Space Channel 5.
Amazing.
Where you repeat her commands.
Amazing.
I know, right?
Going to Jason in the chat room, by the way, he's noticed that Xbox.com is telling him that he has $5.25 in his account, so he bought Mount Your Friends. But he said it's still charged to his card. Well, that's weird.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah,
everybody's points converted to the money, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it said I had fucking $22 in credit. And what it do? It fucking charged my account when I tried to buy some DLC for fucking DJ Hero because it was expiring. Fuck you, Microsoft. Seriously. What is the point of having credit in my account if I can't fucking use it on your goddamn website?
You sound very upset.
It is. It's annoying because it said it's going to charge my account. But I'm like, oh, well, I have money, so it's not going to charge my credit card. Oh, but no, it did.
Well, I was trying to tell all those people out there that have like $2 in their account now to go buy Bungie Veritas. Like, everybody's like, what am I going to buy with $2? Go buy Bungie Veritas.
Here's the other thing, too. You better read that fine print because that money that they converted over from points is expiring soon.
It's like a year out, isn't
it? Mine said it was expiring in March.
What?
But I don't think it's actually
my
expiring
Xbox 360 isn't even hooked up.
Seriously, you got to be careful because they're going to take all that money they have. But yeah, I have like $20-some dollars. You know why I have $20-some dollars? Because I fucking bought Grand Theft Auto 4. And you know why I have $20-some dollars in credit? Because it took it from my fucking credit card and not from the $20 worth of points that it put in the goddamn system. Is why I have $22. Thank you very much, Microsoft.
All right, have you calmed down? Are you calm?
I'm fine. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about another story that might ruffle the feathers of some Nintendo fans, some diehard Nintendo fans I know, because Nintendo has a pretty cool new series on its hands that's very well received with Bravely Default on the 3DS. But Silicon Studios, who is the makers of Bravely Default, their president, Takehiro Terada, said in an interview recently that this title could, quote, expand onto other platforms. Quote, we may expand in the future, but we don't have a clear plan yet. We're talking about that, maybe using other devices, but we don't have a clear plan. We're trying to make a stronger franchise, just like Final Fantasy. We plan to continue with numerous titles, because they've said before they want to try and get one of these games out a year. Now, I know some people want to take this news to mean, it could come to PlayStation 4, or, Xbox One, or, the Vita, or something like that. But why is it that when I hear this, I think, mobile?
Because that's usually what happens.
Because it's Square Enix.
So, let's hope not. That's all I'm saying is that when I read this, I kind of go, mobile. But we'll see. But Bravely Default was really good, and I hope they do well.
Did you finish it, Rob?
I am nowhere close.
Because I was going to ask you if I could borrow yours.
I guess you could borrow it, but I got to get it back.
Okay, well, look, I still need to play more Zelda, but Dan wants to replay it, so.
Okay. Well, we'll talk off air.
Okay.
All right, but we can talk on air right now about the folks that email us every week at participate@orangeloungeradio.com.
You mean singular folk that emailed us?
One person?
Yeah.
All right, well, if there's only one voice that wants to be heard, let's let them have their say. It's the mailbag. Participate@orangeloungeradio.com and our shiny, sparkly one email tonight.
Hi, OLR Caps yelling. That's what it says.
Hey.
As you know, I can't shut the hell up about the Binding of Isaac Rebirth, so I wanted to tell everyone about the game's developer Tumblr at bindingofisaac.com. The site has cool animated GIFs, showing off the item synergies and general samples of the new ambient style music from the game. The site updates on Monday nights. If you don't mind sparing a bit of time, could you please play a bit of the new and seriously goddamn creepy track, one word creepy track, for one of the game's penultimate levels, Shale. You say it like soul, but with an H. Actually, you say Shale, is how it's pronounced, because it's a Jewish word. And Rob, it's in the email. So
thank you for the lesson, Dark Saga.
Please lower the volume of the YouTube player a little bit before listening.
Okie dokie. So that means it's going to be really loud, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see here. So, well, there's a couple. Oh, okay, I see. It's this one here.
Don't educate me on saying things in Hebrew.
It sounds like Nine Inch Nails doing the soundtrack for Quake.
I like it. It actually...
It's very goth club.
Now, here's something interesting to think about. Sheol is the Old Testament's version of hell. No, it's not. Which is a cold and dark place. Since Sheol is now a penultimate level in Rebirth, you have to wonder what's worse than hell for poor little Isaac. Sweet dreams, and it's from the Nasty Canasta. And Sheol, by the way, was never actually defined. It could have been a precursor to the concept of hell. But as far as I learned when I converted to Judaism, there is not an actual legitimate concept of hell. And Sheol was more just a dark place that souls would go to reside. Different rabbis will do it in different ways, but please do not educate me. I have spent a lot of time studying this.
Okay.
Hello, why do you think I converted? So
well, I'm sure many religions have many different theories on it. So,
yeah.
You want to hear something completely random?
Yes.
So I got a notification on Facebook, that my wife and stuff. So she basically said that our son, rolled from his tummy to his back. But that's not the important part. The important part is I read this little trending thing on the side here, completely wrong. It said Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. I did not read that as beasts.
Fantastic bees?
No, I read that as Fantastic Breasts and where to find them. Tell me more, J.K. Rowlings.
Well, let's see. This is hopeful about the whole Oculus on Facebook thing. If Fantastic Breast can be trending, you never know. All right, anyhow. All right, thank you for the one email. So mailbag, God, it's going to take me a while to recondition myself. Sorry, guys. Participate at orangeloungeradio.com if you want to send us an email for the future. In the meantime, we have to get into the FUs of the week. Why? Because...
This is bad. Here is justice. Here is punishment. This is fucked up.
Fuck you to being hungry. I should have I didn't want to be late for the show, so I didn't go eat anything, and now, fuck. I could, eat one of those platform shoes in the other room.
Well, I don't need them anymore, so you can...
I'm giving them to Mel.
All right.
But maybe Sanrio could lose a few pounds. I'll eat some pussy.
Wow! All right, next up, Loki.
Potential FU2 the next 8 weeks because I will no longer be working. During this time, I'm taking a leave of absence to take care of my son, and be very stressful. All
right.
Because I haven't just stayed home and watched the baby before, so it's like he doesn't calm himself. I have to hold him all the time. Trying to get programming done. He's gonna be that's gonna be annoying.
Babies, they're so
I
needy.
have to take him to my wife's work so she breastfeed him, and they have to go to the Kaiser tomorrow. It's like, God, this sounds like it's just as much work as work.
It's more work than work.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. My FU of the week. My FU of the week goes to the continued haunting of the sinus infection in my body. I feel like it's still not completely gone. And this is going on 2 weeks now, right? This stuff is only supposed to happen to Jamie, not me. Go away, you stupid sinus infection. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Die. Is that about right, Darsakra?
Mm.
All right.
I don't know. I can't hear you over the sound of my rumbles.
Oh, I offered you a cracker, goddammit.
You know what? I'm going to eat half of...
There you go. Do it.
But only half of it because I promised.
All right, do it. All right. Let's move on. And just a couple more stories for you guys, and then we're going to go to the Skype line at 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. Loki.
All right. So, basically... Nintendo's got some cool stuff coming to the Wii U, and this is virtual console stuff for Game Boy Advance. This stuff's been out for how long now? On the 3DS, at least if you got one of those I bought it at full price reparation things. But for North America, and I guess this is starting in April 3rd. The first batch of stuff, so North America and Europe are getting Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Metroid Fusion, and Advance Wars on April 3rd, followed by WarioWare Inc., Mega Micro Games, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, on April 10th. April 17th, Golden Sun, F-Zero Maximum Velocity. Hey, there you go. There's your F-Zero game on Wii U. And then followed by April 24th with Yoshi's Island Super Mario Advance 3. And then in Japan, they're kind of getting a few different things. On April 3rd, they're getting F-Zero Maximum Velocity, Advance Wars 1 and 2, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, WarioWare Inc., Mega Micro Games, Golden Sun, and Super Mario Advance 2. And then April 30th, they're getting Kirby and the Nightmare in Dreamland, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Metroid Fusion, Zelda the Minish Cap, Mario Tennis Power Tour, and Wario Land 4. Sounds like they get a better lineup in Japan, to be honest.
Isn't that always the case, though, with a lot of Nintendo stuff? How long do they have Earthbound before us? It was a long time.
Yeah.
And other cases, too.
Mother 3.
Mm-hmm. Which still is probably never going to come out here, ever. Well, last but not least, a little bit of sad news here that doesn't necessarily relate directly to video games, but definitely something that inspired many, many, many video games. And we say rest in peace this week to David A. Trampier, who, and I probably mispronounced that last name, sorry, but he is the artist who actually created the look of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So, like, he did the illustrations on the books.
I know him.
And so, and like
those
all
are from like the
first
Deities and
edition,
Demigods book, wasn't it? Some of those.
Oh yeah, some of that's like really old stuff there. So,
in fact, actually, I think that isn't that one the cover for the Deities and Demigods book. I'd have to check because no, that's not. That's the one for the First Player's Guide. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't play D&D or anything.
Which is funny because this really looks a lot like the early Ultima box art to me. So
it does.
You see that inspiration in games where his stuff carried over to what you see on some old games box art. So
yeah, very sad, very sad. And keep in mind, I probably got like a crate full of books that has his art in it. So. I played D&D.
He was not very much a fan of the public eye at all. In fact, the last picture that they can even find of him for these memorial articles is from 2003. He disappeared in 1998. His comic Wormy for D&D was unfinished, and he retired from illustration, and he drove a taxi.
Didn't he also do some of the illustrations in Dragon Magazine through the 90s?
Oh, probably.
I think through the 80s and 90s, I thought so.
Maybe in the early 80s, that maybe continued through the 90s, yeah.
Well, I mean, Dragon was discontinued, I want to say, before 2000. Mm-hmm. But I swear, awesome art. Just completely, it's probably, he's one of the reasons why, I wanted to get into art. I used to draw my D&D characters and, work that way. It was really, really awful back then. But, him and... what was her name? Julie Bell, I think, and Boris Vallejo, and all of those. I was really into the fantasy art.
Mm-hmm. So obviously a very great artist who has passed on. So rest in peace, sir. Even though it seemed like he kind of shied away from that public life, but people sometimes do. It's their right. All right, we are going to open up the Skype line, 1-877-GAME-OLR, or our username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. If you want to give us a call and talk about anything we've talked about on the show tonight or maybe something we missed, you can go ahead and give us a call. It's your chance to participate with the show. I will also be going to our Twitter at twitter.com/OLR to pull some stories here, but I'll ask Loki as well if he has any last-minute stories, or Dark Sakura if she should have any last-minute stories.
Cookie Mama 5, Bon Appetit, coming to the 3DS this holiday. They're going to have 60 recipes, and yeah.
And if you fuck it up, Mama will fix it.
And new household activities. So I guess you get a sweep now or something.
All right. Nope, sorry.
She has a burger shop.
You can cook burgers with Mama now.
Yeah.
Can you spit in the food like they do at real burger joints?
Ew, don't say that while I'm hungry.
All right. let's go to the phones and take a call. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
God, and don't say that when I'm waiting to be announced onto the show. Holy crap, Rob.
Sorry,
yeah,
Jason. How are you doing,
Especially
Jason?
since I just got back from dinner, too. That leaves it settling really, really well in my stomach now.
What did you eat? Chicken strips and snot?
No and no. And since you watch them prepare it, it's not so bad. But I ran down to Chipotle real quick.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that won't give you gas. Well, what's up, buddy?
I was just kind of like reflecting on the episode and thinking about the things that that have been covered tonight. And I think the most interesting and unfortunate one is the Humble Bundle key reselling.
Yeah.
And I don't like, there's not an answer to this. There's not a solution to this because it's literally the same cat and mouse game that piracy revolves around.
Yeah.
Like I as a kid, I was a huge fucking pirate. As soon as a buddy of mine turned me on to one of those mod chips that just hooks into the data port of the back of the original PlayStation, I had a very massive collection of burned games by somebody who knew more than me at the time and knew what they were doing, and that continued into my PS2 years.
Now, real quick though, I'm not going to say that this makes it right or that I'm going to excuse it or I'm defending piracy. However, most people who have done that at one point in their lives, like I'm sure a lot of people downloaded CDs from Napster and all that stuff back in the day, they weren't exactly A, taking money out of charity's hand necessarily, or B, selling them for profit, which is, I mean, like,
absolutely.
You know, we can
That's
debate piracy and if that's a bad thing or whatever, but now this is like super piracy. And we can agree that when you resell the shit, that's really bad. Like, it's one thing to be bad and it's another to be really, really bad, right?
Yeah, the law doesn't give a shit about the scales, but in my mind, the scales really are. This is something interesting, and it's illegal to be doing, but you want to check something out. You're on the fence about something. You find a way to do that. The second tier, which is shady but not miserable, is that you only recoup costs for parts like physical media and that kind of stuff. And then the third tier is the fact that you're straight up profiting from it. And that's where everything enters douche town. The other situations like this that I started thinking about when that article came up were, I remember somebody, like there was a mini outrage over Netflix because some imported movie had a subbing group's credits in either the start or the end of the movie. But I'm pretty damn sure Netflix didn't steal the subs from the subbing group. Some asshole publisher took that media and entered into an agreement with Netflix over it. And probably somebody that just, was skirting by with a couple of titles to line their pockets a little bit more. It's a limit with everything, and it would be nice to say that you shouldn't look for these deals that are unlawful, because presumably there'll be better ones in the next Steam sale for, I don't know, spring or summer or whatever the next one is that's even going to happen. Because the whole point of it is the immediate satisfaction, and the people that are in a position to be able to offer that just cheap enough, just good enough, somebody's going to take them up on it.
Yeah. I just kind of wish, I wish that the buyers would not support that, but I realize not everybody's going to be clued into necessarily what the Humble Bundle is, especially in the worldwide marketplace, where I think, you could kind of tell from the broken English in the statement that these companies probably don't sell to a lot of people in North America.
Yeah, there's even another part of this that a friend of mine has been, before the anime convention, a friend of mine was just kind of talking about stuff and asking me for help sifting through pages and pages and pages of products. And this is a whole nother deal about, like, I don't want to call them bootlegs because that's presumptuous, but people that can just take advantage of the massive amounts of transactions. And sure, these have your favorite sports teams logos on there. No, they weren't iron-on transfers. This is an everything problem, and it's really unfortunate. And it is an education problem, which means everybody's not going to get it. Education isn't perfect. It's just that simple. People will draw their own conclusions and find their own things because of this vast internet, and even just walking around freaking flea marts or anything else where you're just in a massive community of some sort. Mm-hmm. People will come to the wrong solution. That's why phishing exists. That's why bootlegging can be so prominent in this kind of sort of thing. It's unfortunate, but it's the case.
Absolutely. Well, before I let you go, what might be the answer to this? How do we get this to stop? And I'm sure you probably don't know, but what are your thoughts?
I absolutely don't have one. This is the cat and mouse game. Like, for the answer is nothing like we've done, but I don't think there is an answer because this is a social problem. This is a people problem, and technology does not overcome people problems because people will always find the exception.
You know, that whole statement you just said could kind of apply to the Facebook thing we were talking about earlier in the show.
Funny, because I was going to say the Xbox Live karma story as well. That there's going to be massive mobs of people abusing it because you take something out of context when you deliberately make shit up. Hell, let's look at the freaking Ubisoft losing the Watch Dogs patent trademark. There's a way for a person to fuck this up. It's the worst thing.
Kaijudo in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says we have to shut the internet off. It's the only way. But that's, you can't do that
that's
now.
That's going to take us backwards 20, 30 years.
That's what causes civil unrest in some countries. You can't take away what people...
And the internet is to blame for the Boston Tea Party. Come the fuck on. People. That's exactly the point that I just made.
But at the same time, I totally get what Kaijudo's saying. I mean, he is right in a way. You can't actually do that, but that's the only way you would end it.
No, you would end it on one medium and it would go somewhere else.
All right. Well, Jason, thank you very much for your thoughts.
Always exciting.
Anything else you want to share with listeners before I let you go?
Sorry about the Bummer Town, guys. I just that's what came to mind tonight.
No, that's all right. It happens sometimes. Maybe somebody will call in next with a fart joke. We'll see. All right.
It would redeem a lot.
All right. Bye, my friend.
Have a good night, guys.
Later. 1-877-GAME-OLR or your username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. That, of course, is Jason, who also produces the YouTube videos that you see at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/OrangeLoungeRadio, which I still need to do. A lot of you have no idea what this new studio looks like. I need to get that video done. So I'm going to try to work on that this week, but, no promises because, again, I got to start the South Park video game. Priorities, people, priorities. But our priority right now is this next caller. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
It's the one and only Ronma, and yes, you need to start on the South Park game.
I know. I've been keeping myself relatively spoiler-free, although everybody tells me I need to see the part in Canada. There's something else that's spoiled for me, too, but I won't return the favor. But I'm very excited to play.
Good.
What's on your mind, buddy?
All right, a few things. First things first, I'm actually dressed from the top up, and you don't even turn the cam on. I'm insulted. I got dressed for no reason.
Well, here's the thing. Loki is back in studio, so I don't have to have that whole weird rig to have two people on Skype at the same time without doing a conference. So video may return eventually at some point. I don't know. We'll see. No promises.
All right,
But you said, wait a minute. You said you're dressed from the top up. Does that mean you're not wearing pants?
Maybe.
No, it'd be
Don't stand up. Don't you stay seated, sir. What?
Here's something that I know this is like. It'd be awesome is to be capturing this, video capturing all this stuff, so we could take video of Ranma talking or whatever, and actually have that in the YouTube thing.
Funny enough, and I shouldn't say this because now Jason's going to want me to do it. I can actually do that. I think. Well, here's the thing. This computer that we use too is still it's a little bit older, so I don't know if it would have all that bandwidth to be able to encode and write a video to disk at the exact same time that we're broadcasting the show, and it's encoding the audio too.
There's a way around that.
There's a way around that. All right.
There's a way.
Techmaster Loki, live up to your name. If you want to do it, we'll figure it out. Anyway, sorry, buddy.
It's cool.
What's up?
All right, I just want you to know I listened to last week's show because I was out and about, and I'm just going 1 week, and shit went nuts. Because first things first, the joke book was destroyed a couple of years ago. Me and ActF forced Drew to destroy the joke book. So I don't know how Raginator got it.
Clearly he picked up the ashes, and like a phoenix, it rose from the ashes. The joke book can't be destroyed. Like, you have to cut off its head. It's like Highlander, okay?
Phoenix, Necronomicon,
I did actually pass on the joke book to someone else.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Remember, we have a new intern.
No. Yeah, Raginator last week. Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed him mentioning Raginator then.
Well, yes. That's what he's pissed about, is that we gave away a book that apparently was destroyed. Well, you know what, sir? We made it, and we'll make it again.
We cloned it. Sorry, we did a temporal restoration.
You know what else we're gonna make?
What?
Games that star chicks with flamethrowers.
Hey, I'm all for that.
All right. So you were filing a petition against Raginator getting the joke book. That's fine. Your case has been heard, and we'll get back to you in 8 to 10 weeks. What else is on your mind?
8 to 10 weeks, damn it. Just so you know, Rob, I was the one that posted the Castlevania info on your Facebook. That was me.
Yes.
So you couldn't remember who it was. So I'm like, that was me.
I didn't have my Facebook in front of me. I just had the little showreel that we work from. It's been a long weekend, Rama. Did I mention I was up till 3 a.m. last night because drag queens? Did I mention that?
Yes, I know, and I understand because I've been so busy with work this whole week that I skipped out on a con on Saturday because I just couldn't get up.
You missed it. And nothing dirty, people. Get your minds out of the gutter, for God's sake. I know I was hanging out with Grandpa, but it wasn't like that. All right. So,
yeah. So, I'm coming in tonight from food shopping, and I catch onto the show, and I hear you going on this rant and tirade about that podcast is doing the Kickstarter. My first thought was, if I was there in the studio, we'd be chasing them down with pitchforks and shotguns because I feel the same way.
You know what? I'm torn on this sort of thing because I'm not one to tell other people what they should and shouldn't do.
I know, and you're right, but it's like this. I would never put my podcast on because if I do all these promises and people are going to want them, it's like we can't go to half these conventions because some of us can't get the time off and this and that. And you're right. I want to have that ability where if all of us sit down one day and be like, you know what? We're coming down to the end. Let's do our final episodes and just knock it out.
Yeah.
Just have at it,
I don't know how we would ever do the last Orange Lounge Radio. I mean, obviously that day will come eventually. We're going to have to do a last episode. But I'd like to think we're somehow going to give it a Viking funeral where we set it on fire and set it out to sea. I think that's the only appropriate way to end the show. But let's not talk about the end because it's whenever it happens, it happens. But in the meantime, we're enjoying the ride, right?
Yeah, and the whole thing about the whole piracy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing in the anime fandom. It's like they'll bootleg the episodes, but when it comes out commercially, even at a decent price, nobody wants to buy it for various reasons. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm guilty of that too, but on the same token, when the price comes to right, I will buy the box sets. I will buy the merchandise. I will support my fandoms one way or another. It's just the current generation of spoiled brats that are mucking it up for everybody else.
Get off my lawn.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel half the time.
Rama, anything else you want to share with listeners before I let you go?
Yeah, you forgot to tell everyone about the number one rumor about you for April Fools.
Uh-oh. What?
You're actually straight.
Everybody knows that's a lie.
Straight as a $3 bill.
If you fall for that one, you deserve it. All right.
There's one person in the bunch.
All right, Rama. Okay, thanks for the call, buddy.
You got it.
All right, later.
Okay,
just because I've made out with chicks and God, y'all gonna bring my
still weird
sexuality into question.
It was still weird.
Oh yeah, you saw me make out with a chick
spin the bottle
once, huh?
thing.
Oh yeah,
it was just weird.
God, how old were we? 12?
It was the night that Shane and I invented Dunk.
I actually vaguely remember that.
We were sitting on AIM. Mm-hmm. Chatting with people while you guys were all playing Spin the Bottle because we totally didn't want to.
Yeah.
And we invented Dunk instead of Drunk.
I don't know if
Shane needs to hurry the fuck up and move out here.
I think he's trying.
I know. Well, Shane, move out here.
I don't think he's listening.
Too bad. Shane, listen. You can sleep.
Shane, listen.
You can sleep on the couch at my house if you need to. Although Rob has more room now.
He might take you up on that.
You can sleep with all of my stinky oil paintings.
All right. 1-877-GAME-OLR, our username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio, if you'd like to give us a call. Let's see. Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com, I see Tiger Claw says, why would anyone want a bootleg copy of an anime when it's of poor quality? It's better having a pristine copy of it, especially if it's in HD. It's the same reason people watch cam rips of movies. I think that's a horrible way to watch a movie.
But I have HD quality anime rips that I got off the internet for a series that I've been told I apparently have to watch. So
that doesn't make it right.
So, well, then bring it out over here. Shit. And stop fucking up the Claymore translations. My God, seriously.
Let me go to a couple tweets, and I'll check in one more time with Loki on the last minute stories. SJ100 Matt sent a tweet that says, "Do you still have your Amiga 500 games, but no way to play them? An Indiegogo project hopes to change that." I actually never owned an Amiga 500, although I know Amigas were super popular, and I was certainly a fan of the Commodore 64. But yeah, there's an Indiegogo project, and he sent us a link there. It's an Indiegogo campaign hoping to provide Commodore enthusiasts and retro gamers with an authentic as possible experience to the original Amiga with an all-in-one enclosed package. So I guess it's kind of like when they re-released the Commodore 64 that had like a Commodore emulator mode. They want to try to do something like that. So that's pretty cool. And there were some really classic Amiga games we've talked about in the Classic Game of the Week and so forth before. Our pal SF Redhead sent us a tweet talking about, Rob, Facebook buys Oculus for $2 billion. Yikes. And certainly there was a lot of tweets at us that day. But yes, that was all over the internet. So I'm curious now, though, now that y'all have had a week to marinate on the news, and we've talked about it earlier in the show tonight, now how are you feeling about things? Because I think this is another one of those reactions that was, the fuck? But now that you've had a week to marinate on it, what do you guys think at this point? And a shout out to Ascended Leo, who sent a tweet to the last show that said, "Ass bleach, bacon beer. This episode is fucking hilarious. I'm at work laughing like an insane man. I think I've lost it." Yes, you have lost it. Congratulations and welcome to the OL Army. But you know what? I actually credit a lot of that to the energy that comes with moving to a new space and having Loki back with us. You know, the Skype thing was a good Band-Aid, but having Loki back here is good.
It wasn't the same.
Yeah, it wasn't the same. And also, Jason had sent us a tweet earlier in the week that I want to give a shout out here too, because apparently after the last show, he ran out and bought breakfast cereal, and he tweeted us on his counter: Honeycomb, Frosted Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios, Frosted Flakes, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
And no Captain Crunch. I don't get it.
If you're going to get Captain Crunch, get Peanut Butter Crunch.
Yeah, whatever.
It's just like candy for breakfast. All right, one last shout out for phone calls. If we don't get any, then we'll wrap it up. 1-877-GAME-OLR or a username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio, all one word. Loki, any other last minute stories?
No.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, nothing. I mean,
well,
I don't know.
And the phones aren't ringing, so I guess that's that. I guess everybody's probably too busy watching the stupid Walking Dead. Well, I shouldn't call it stupid because I know a lot of people are really into it and so forth, but you could have DVR'd it and watched it tomorrow, but whatever. Well, thank you to those of you that are here tonight, and even those of you that chose to watch The Walking Dead tonight. If you listen to us on the podcast feed, I forgive you because you're still supporting the show, so I want to say a big thank you. And, support independent broadcasting. You know what? Even if you didn't like this particular show, well, A, thank you for at least listening all the way to the very end, but B, just support other independent podcasters. There's so many out there who work very hard at what they do, and people that have a real passion for this. You know, just, support your favorite indie podcast with your emails and your kind tweets and all that good stuff there. So, Black Wolf wanted me to point out this. He's in our chat room. He wanted me to point out this clarification here. This is something Loki brought up earlier in the show. Okay, this is about the Xbox currency and this whole thing. The currency we add to your account at the time of the transition will expire on June 1st, 2015. However, the currency you purchase and add to your account after the transition will not expire. But you had to initiate the transfer before March 1st. So if you didn't transfer it to real money, you lost the points. So if you did, they go away on June 1st, 2015. I think that'll... I've never transitioned the points. I just got...
They did that for you, though, I
just got it in my account. But
I don't know.
I think it's
shows in real money. So.
I think you still have until June 1st to spend those points. But you're all going to go buy an indie game like Bungie Ferret Tossing.
That's the thing, though, is they should allow me to spend my points. Like, I should be able to choose points as an option. Even on the console, like when I bought that game, it defaults to your credit card, and you have to manually change it. It doesn't just default to points, which is stupid. It's a good way, though, to get you to spend another $10 or $20 off your credit card instead of using the points that they're going to make expire at some point.
Yes, it is.
Still fuck them, though.
All right. Well, thanks again for listening to our show. And if you enjoyed the show tonight, or even if you hated it, I would appreciate it if you help spread the word. You can tell a friend or five about the show. you can give us a nice review on a site like iTunes or Stitcher Radio. Those really do go a long way in helping the exposure on those various sites. So we really, really appreciate it. The time's come for us to go around and get everybody's final thoughts. So Dark Sakura, please, your final thought tonight.
Food.
Loki, your final thought tonight.
Next week's going to be interesting. That's all I got to say. I'm hoping to be able to play some games and code some stuff, and I just hopefully I'm not going to be juggling baby the entire time. He does nap, though, for a few hours, so it'll be that.
And my final thought tonight is I can't wait to sleep, because sleep is awesome. I don't want to, sleep forever. I'm not ready for that yet.
Oh, my God, sleep sounds great.
I want to sleep for, 13 hours. I'm
I
going to do
want
that next
food
weekend.
first, and then I can sleep.
And then sleep.
Because I think I have, the minor version of that crud, of the tired crud.
That's no fun.
No.
Don't you dare give it to me.
Rob, jeez, how rude. Rude.
No, it's not rude. It's just selfish. There's a difference.
It's both. You should be like, oh, I hope you feel better soon. Instead of, don't get me sick.
Yeah, I hope you feel better soon so you don't get me sick.
Pitch, please. No, I think that I had already gotten it earlier, and I'm just getting over it. But I didn't even realize I was sick until I was at work, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm fucking tired.
Jamie, don't die.
Everyone dies someday.
That's one of the things that one of the drag queens said at the show last night. There was the Drag Queens, a comedy show in San Francisco, and there was a lot of legendary.
Take me.
Blame Grandpa was his idea. So one of the drag queens was Coco Peru, and she had this moment, Coco Peru, which, by the way, she has a hilarious YouTube of her playing Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, awesome.
You gotta YouTube that. That's funny. But she kind of walked out there and she said, I had this really interesting thought today that everybody in this room someday will be dead.
Love her. By the way, Rob, you know what we have to do?
Huh?
We have to go to the Peaches Christ Midnight Mass, see Showgirls.
Yes, that's August.
And live tweet it.
You know what they're doing in May?
What?
Serial Mom.
I haven't seen that. Do you know?
What?
I know.
Sally Struthers, this is my bad side.
Okay, we're going, right?
Sorry, Sally Struthers. Suzanne Summers.
So we're going.
Wow,
then, right?
I fucked up that quote.
We're going then, right?
Sure. I don't know. I have to check the calendar. I don't want to promise.
I'll fucking go.
I've got Rocky Horror season coming up again, so it's gonna be a hoot and a
You
holler.
know what? Now you made me think of.
Huh?
One day, Grandma, Grandpa gonna be dead. Don't tell them they're gonna die. They already know.
Wow, on that note, now we're just stealing from comics. So I think we really need to end the show tonight. Thank you guys very much for tuning in.
Oh, wait.
What?
They killed Fritz!
Bye.
Wasn't that from what, The Wizards? That was from The Wizards. That was
The Wizard. I love that movie.
No, not
He
The
touched my
Wizard.
breast.
The Wizards. The one that was an animation from the 70s or some shit.
Can I end the show?
Fine, bye.
You've been listening to Orange Lounge Radio. Orange Lounge Radio is a production of OLR Studios. To join us for a live show, tune into VogNetwork.com Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the staff of Orange Lounge Radio or Vog Network, but they were all still true. See you next week.